And in this house, the most dire, horrible events took place.
You are not content with the stories. Slice lives come. Be my victim.
Through watching scenes of violence, through watching scenes of transgression, through watching scenes of horror. There's an enormous amount of sort of abattoiral excess.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
I've heard that milking alpacas can lead to all sorts of madness.
Yeah,
Going
you want to
mad
watch out for this.
anytime.
Yeah, want to watch out for them spitting after while milking them.
They will. They'll do it.
Yeah.
They're spitters. They're known for it. Those critters, they're famous spitters, as no one said ever. Welcome, chat. We're in week 2 of the first tranche of Lovecraft horror. I hope you're enjoying it. There's been a fun one. We've got a lot to cover, but I think we're going to do well tonight. So we're going to have to be brisk with it because the long shadow of Super Nanny does loom over us all. So I'll be brisk and just say welcome. I hope you managed to get your horror homework done. We are covering Color Out of Space from 2019 this week, a story that is often considered one of Lovecraft's best and has been adapted a heck of a lot more times than I had any idea of. which is sort of why Murgoot is on. Hey Murgoot, how you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Yourself?
I'm grand. I've had a treat when I've been getting my my books for further horror research. They've all been arriving this week. It's been fantastic.
Oh no, I just do the minimum amount of homework that you assign me, or at least I try to.
You come in with a fresh perspective. That's what you do.
Exactly.
Unspoiled.
Some could even say innocent.
Yeah, absolutely. Unsullied. Fantastic. However, the unsullied innocent status is not going to last beyond the topic that we're covering, which is a very interesting music video that became a bit of a meme back in the day, a bit of a shock video that would show someone, but that I think is actually a really good example of Lovecraftian horror. We're going to get to that in a bit. First, I'm just going to say, as I believe is good practice, hey chat, how are you doing? I hope you're well. And this should be a good one. We're going to get some quick shilling out in advance because I will inevitably forget to do it. So I just want to say I hope you're going to enjoy this stream. It's going to be fun. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can help it grow by smashing that like button, going into the barn with a shotgun and just obliterating that like button. Taking the subscribe, munching it, absorbing it into yourself in a frankly Jungian terror. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And just suck that subscribe up into a tree and then pierce it. All that stuff that we're meant to do, that I'm sure is the way we're meant to promote the channels. And if you want to go beyond doing those much appreciated actions, you can of course support the channel via super chat. And if you want to, or joining as a member, but if you want to keep your money out of Susan's pockets, which I fully understand, we also have a subscribe star, which is linked in the description. I feel super weird shilling, guys. Super weird shilling. So I figured I would shill at the start.
It's the best time to do it. Absolutely the best time to do it.
Yes. Okay, good. So now I don't have to worry about doing it. I've done it. I've shilled. I promoted. You guys know how to support the channel. You can look in the description. All the stuff is in there. And so are the links to my fabulous guests. By the way, Haryan is going to join us later, possibly because he hopes he can skip the discussion of the music video.
Yeah.
We're not fooled.
No. He said something about a meeting or something like that he had to participate in, but we all know why.
Yeah, no. He watched it. He ducked out.
Tash watched with him. She slapped him upside the head several times.
I'm not gonna lie. This film actually gave me emotions and feelings that I hadn't felt since Funny Games. And I think you'll know, because in our Discord chat, that bit when I was like, frick, this film, that was the moment when I was like, mate, am I going to be able to carry on with this?
Oh, yeah. There's a moment that completely got me as well, like a proper sort of wince. Did not expect
the alligator.
No, that is not. Well, there were two bits that worked amazingly for me, and one was just incredibly visceral, and one that I found disturbing in its sort of in the psychological interpretation of it. But
okay,
we'll get to it. We'll get to it. I think, I've done some shilling. I think you guys should as well. Haryan's not allowed to because he missed this bit. But TCG, would you like to do any shills before we get into the topic?
Just the usual shilling from me. Check out the main channel in the description, That Crime Guy. There was a new video that was released about a week ago. To do with the Colombo family. So if you haven't already, go and check that one out. I was pretty happy with the way that one came out. And also we did some more gaming on the live channel last Monday. The last episode of Batman the Telltale series concludes on Monday. So if you haven't already, go check out the previous 4. And tomorrow on the live channel is the 9th installment, I believe, of Freaking Florida Man Friday, and both Horrorshow and Murgoot will be there with me, as well as, I hope, another guest or two.
Excellent. Yeah, good. And Murgoot, anything for yourself?
Just science posting, and well, it's family friendly. Very random posting on Twitter at Murgoot.
You're getting people all the right content, It's handy. It's handy. Excellent. Yeah. I've just been prompted because there was something that I was meant to do, and there's so much in this one I forgot. But I thought I'd switch up the avatar this week, guys. I'm giving it a little change. What do you reckon?
It looks great. Looks fantastic. It almost looks artificially generated.
Yeah. There's a hot new trend at the moment. Do you want to tell people about that?
It's this thing called, is it Dolly? Which is like, it's like an AI. You basically put you put a prompt in, and it will generate 12 images based on that. So you could do I don't know, Michael J. Fox boxing Mike Tyson. Even my manager at work, he's got in on it, and he did. I don't know if I should say on here, but he did Jimmy Savile in Mario Kart, and some of the images that came out were pretty brilliant.
I did a few. The Dolly one that I posted on Twitter, you guys saw it, was Sesame Street Cthulhu, and that one was just priceless.
I love that.
The ones that I put in were the Minions and Fallout New Vegas and Sargon of Akkad in New Vegas, which turned out very, very, very disturbing.
That's brilliant. If you guys can't read that in the chat, the prompt for this one was double feature horror show. So
I wanted to see what it would do,
that's pretty impressive.
I'm gonna have to use these. Those are fantastically disturbing. I'm very upset.
They are brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I did that, and then Shrouded Hand, friend of the channel, got in there, and he he won up that. I don't know what he typed. I don't know if it was just proper horror show. I tried bloody martini. I could not get this result. But we got a whole load of new avies. Look at that.
Look at that. That's you sorted for the next couple of years, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's
We
brilliant.
need to do some shake-ups. We need to do some channel shake-ups.
Oh, it's fantastic. So I'm a big fan of this. I think basically all the bottom row really work.
Mm.
And I kind of like the top right as well.
That middle one looks a bit like ice cream, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, not really one that we can do.
Not one, but no.
A bloody Sunday. Might be a sensitive one. Oof. All right. Yeah, so I thought that was cool. That was cute. We also had a cute bit of art as well. I'll just get that up as well, because if we're doing art, there's a really nice one done by Poe the Person.
Oh, okay.
Which I'd quite like to do something with, because I think it's kind of sweet. This is my ideal life. Like
nice.
Me with my chickens. Yeah, Poe's cartoons are adorable and much appreciated. And yeah, she went and did this for our humble channel, and I just can't get over the chicken with the popcorn.
There needs to be a second image, like with the chicken with its head in the popcorn bag. That would be pretty cool.
Oh, I'm gonna have to pester her over that.
Or like the hand, like your hand reaching into the popcorn and the chicken pecking your finger at your hand.
They would. They absolutely would. But yeah, fun bit of art for the channel.
I love it.
Yeah, it's cute, isn't it? It's cute. Shall we move on to the slightly less cute and slightly more disturbing area that is DAE fantasy?
Yeah, I was saying I'm trying to wrap my head around this topic. What's this about Lovecraft and trip hop?
Yeah, this is just a really short one. But when I was looking for this, I originally had the idea that basically there's just not much good Lovecraft horror. Like, this is before I had done much research. I'd seen a lot of independent, low budget stuff. I was like, okay, that's interesting. And obviously I knew like the Stuart Gordon, Brian Yuzna stuff. So like Necronomicon, From Beyond, Reanimator, which we covered last week.
Yep.
But otherwise I thought adaptations were either very low budget independent or quite, unknown. So
yeah.
And I'd got it in my head that actually one of the best adaptations of Lovecraft stuff was in this video. Kind of like In the Mouth of Madness.
Right.
It's not a direct adaptation, but it is getting the vibe to an extent.
Okay.
Now, chat, if this makes no sense to you, this is from a video called Fantasy by a French trip hop group, or maybe a chill hop group called DYE. And the video was released in 2011. And I can't show it on this stream.
Why? Besides quite obvious copyright issues. But...
Yes. All right. How to do this in a family friendly. Would one of you want to take the brave challenge of describing DYE fantasy in a family friendly way?
I'm going to be honest. I'm not familiar with them. So
okay.
you might be on your own on this one.
I'll do it.
Go for it, Murgoot.
Some high school kids break into the pool for a lovely romantic evening and start making out and cracking open a couple cold ones.
So it's kind of a nice vibe, isn't it?
Yeah. Two of them go off and start wading in the pool and making out, and the other guy drinks a beer and tries to catch a smooch from the other girl. She freaks out and jumps into the pool, and everything starts transforming badly. Worms, snakes for arms, alligators for heads.
This sort of stuff.
Okay. Oh my God. Get that. No. Right. No.
All right.
Remove,
All right.
remove.
All right. Okay. All right. No.
Jesus.
No
And
breaking
she-
of the brains. I probably should have warned you guys before that, but in the true spirit of this video, there is no warning. This film flips from kind of chill, like summer evening haze, fun times, Americana, chill by the pool.
Make out
flips.
session.
Yeah, makeout session that goes a little further than you might expect, and you're like, oh, this is a bit saucy. This is more than I expected. And it then flips to that kind of image with
And then
no warning whatsoever.
Well,
Miss
yeah.
Alligator Head bites into the second guy, and then the second girl, the one who ran and jumped into the pool, she jumps back into the pool, closes her eyes, opens them, and then swims through a portal and sees the fertility goddess Shub-Niggurath from Lovecraft.
Yeah. This is her in the pool, and then the really good thing of she basically goes out the bottom of the pool
Right.
into another realm, as you do, and
Seems
then
to
you're very
abominable.
much in the realm of Shub-Niggurath. It's
Needle and Fur in the chat. So it's not like Daft Punk's One More Time.
No.
no, not so much. Not so much. Yeah, she ends up in a completely Lovecraftian realm. It's special.
Yeah, Shub-Niggurath is written by Lovecraft as the black goat of the woods with 1,000 young. And she makes everything fertile in the most abominable ways possible.
Yeah. It's like, think of this as like a 3-minute, 35 seconds condensed Lovecraft story. You are around in regular life, things get suddenly weird, the human form and your sanity is destroyed by unbelievable distortions that you did not think possible. Not just sort of, oh, this is a creature with a fly's head, but just things that the human body is never expected to do. And then it just breaks the brain completely. It really is the Lovecraftian vibe of just going so far beyond anything you thought possible. And the fact that the protagonist ends up here in this other realm that you can see, and you know, there's no beating the monster here. She has just gone out of a weird, horrific body horror situation, but found herself in a kind of cosmic horror situation with no victory, completely lost, having no idea what's going on, with Shub-Niggurath in the background being like more than a mountain size, and just getting you the idea of how little this protagonist matters in the scheme of things. It's concentrated Lovecraft, basically.
And
Oh, yes, man.
all I can think is how Haryan has absolutely dodged a bullet.
I hope we actually, when he comes back, we're going to have to ask if he watched it. I did put it in the group chat, so
Maybe just sort of just pop the image up just out of the blue as we're talking. You know, just like you lunged it upon us. Just maybe do the same to him.
I'll
Just
change his
randomly.
profile picture. How about that? Shall we drop in that? All right. Chat, remind
Go for
me.
it.
Remind me when,
Wait, you can
when he's
do
on
that.
after. Give him about 10 minutes and we'll be like, profile
you
time.
can you can change our profile pictures.
Yeah, totally.
Oh my god!
I obviously have never abused this. I've changed people. There was a thing we used to
You've
do back
changed
in
my
the...
name.
Yeah. If you don't remember, back in the day, I did used to change people's name after a certain point in the stream just for fun.
Yeah.
But, I haven't done that for a while.
I didn't know you
Alright.
could change the avatars. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think I can. I control the horizontal and I control the vertical.
Horrors.
As some people say. We're going to have to do some outer limits at some point, and I am going to have to find where on earth my basic screen is, because it's there we go. Missing, sorry, many tabs open, more tabs open than Mundane Matt. That's how I have to run this stream. Okay. I suppose the question we didn't actually ask was, how do you feel about it, and did you like the song?
Yes to both.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Did you link it in the Discord just out of interest?
Yes. Yeah, I linked it.
I'm going to listen. Oh yeah, there it is. I'm going to listen to it live as we are streaming.
All right, cool.
Because I do not want to miss. I mean, I obviously don't really want to watch the video if I can get away with it. But if I can,
I'll tell you what,
join in the conversation.
I am going to ask Murgoot to do us a favor, because Murgoot possibly has more right to talk on the stream than anyone else. I'm going to post the link in the chat, folks, if you wish to see it. Maybe just like save it for later. But moving on to Color Out of Space, and we are going to go full spoilers.
Okay, just a bit of an upskirt moment there.
So you see what I mean? It goes a bit further than you expect.
Whoops.
I think we should just like save your reaction, and then I'll put it over like an audio commentary on the video.
I think you should. It's quite a chill beat though.
It's good.
Yeah.
In fact, you could completely swap out the video with something nice and relaxing. You know,
I know.
Cicadas in a summer breeze, but no, you got horrific tentacle abominations going right in the cloaca.
Yeah, it doesn't quite. I mean, at the moment, the video sort of matches the tone. But I'm just waiting for it to change. Just
you'll know. You'll know. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, saucy. There's a guy drinking what looks like a green beer. Oh, he's got a bit on his mouth. Bit of Oh, how is this allowed on YouTube?
That was my question.
Wait, yeah, like seriously, how is this allowed on YouTube? Why she jumped in? Is she trying to drown herself?
She's trying to just like swim it out, you know. She doesn't want a make out session.
Oh, what the hell? Oh, oh my! Wait,
folks, this might seem bizarre, but when you watch this video,
you'll understand. You'll definitely understand. She okay. So who's that then? Oh no! Oh, the face is turned. Oh my god! Whoa! Okay, that happened. What the? Jeez! Oh, why? What? Oh, naked. She. What? Oh, okay. Oh my god. Okay.
It doesn't chill out, does it?
No.
It's
Oh my god!
all
No.
good.
Hang on. How come she? Okay. What the? Honestly, what is going on? Right, she's back in the water now.
Lovecraftian horror is what's going
she
on.
go for the other side. Ah, okay. Okay. So now she's in a cave.
It'll work out.
I don't get it. Oh, what the? What is going on?
And that's why
Okay.
you don't go to teen makeout sessions.
Okay, yeah. Parents, don't let your children go out. Basically, it's just Jesus Christ. Right, okay. I can confirm that the music is actually really good. The song's actually really nice, really quite chill. It's got a nice little beat to it.
Yeah.
And the vocals are pretty sound as well. The video, what the
What I just
Seriously.
love is how it could have been swapped out with anything else.
You could just put like a little I don't know, you could just put like a little B-roll footage of like a calm sea on a beach, or do you know what I mean? You could put something like that on it, or just a nice warm tone on it. But that was just it fit up to a certain point. It was all right up to a certain point, and then it just went completely south. I genuinely wonder how will you be clipping the audio.
Okay, I've got a new plan. After the stream, let's make Haryan watch it live if he hasn't seen it,
Yeah.
and I'll record the audio for it, and then I'll put it together for like an audio commentary on the video, so I can cover up the worst bits. How about that?
Brilliant.
All right, good times, good times. Okay, right. Let's sanctify the stream. Let's keep it awesome, guys. So as I was saying, Murgoot, you're basically the best person to talk about this because one, you already have a huge amount of Lovecraft knowledge, and we've been on a few streams, mostly on TCG's channel. Actually, I think all on TCG's channel.
Mm-hmm.
But you messaged me referencing some of the other versions of this. Like, yeah. And I was like, you know what? To be honest, do you just want to come on? And thankfully, we've got you here. Do you want to tell us about the previous adaptations of Color Out of Space? Just maybe like give us a quick summary of them.
Well, the supposedly big budget ones. There's 1965's Die Monster Die with Boris Karloff. Poor Boris Karloff has a 1,000-yard stare looking like, what the hell am I doing on this set? Get me the hell out of here. Complete with an altar to Cthulhu and an altar to Satan and battle axes and chases through the house. Yeah, no. It's
not a close adaptation then.
No. And it's bad. It's not as bad as 1987's The Curse, with John Schneider of Dukes of Hazzard and Smallville fame, and featuring a young Will Wheaton. Shut up, Wesley.
The mark of quality.
Oh, yeah.
Chromedian just watched the video.
Chromedian, can we have your thoughts, please, my friend? This is a family-friendly stream. I'm not platforming that filth.
I agree.
Sorry. So yeah, there's the Will Wheaton version.
Yeah, and it's pretty faithful 2/3 of the way through the story, and then the last 20 minutes is just god awful. Chet Atkins roaming around like a zombie. Will Wheaton acting like, well, Will Wheaton. And it effectively, for $1987, it effectively had double the budget of Cage's Color Out of Space. But when the house explodes, it looks like they'd run out of money and they'd used cardstock for the house and just tipped it over with bright flashing lights and some flash powder. It's just awful. And then 2008's Die Farbra, where instead of the Miskatonic Valley of Massachusetts, it's set in Germany. And it starts in 1975 with, instead of a hydrologist, it's a man looking for his father who returned to Germany to find some of the German soldiers, the German soldier that he saved. And then it flashes back to World War II and the events. The movie is gorgeously shot in black and white, and the only color in the movie is the Color Out of Space itself, and they used magenta, much like Cage's Color Out of Space, because magenta does not fall on the color spectrum. It's an illusory color that is the flip side of fluorescent lime green, which is a color. It's basically, if you see magenta, it's a photographic negative of lime green.
Okay.
And that's
okay.
why they use it, because it is very, very strange. And it's very effective. Of the three that I've just talked about, Difarb is the best of the three by far. It's very, very good.
I'm gonna have to autism Difarbe.
Yeah, it is available on YouTube for free. It's listed under the color out of space. Put in, excuse me, I'm shutting the door. Combat Air Patrol.
No worries, man.
I'm
No worries, man.
2 miles from the Air Force Base, so.
No worries, understandable. So all on YouTube. That's pretty nifty.
Yeah, it's look it up. The Color Out of Space 2008. You may have to put in the description German, because most of the movie is in German, some is in English, and the subtitles are good.
Is it the Is it Sci-Fi Central?
There's a couple copies out there. The one I saw was from a German downloader. It had the best quality.
Right.
Because there's a version. I'll just put the Color Out of Space 2008 German, and the first one that pops up is a video that was uploaded about a year ago, 39,000 views, hour and 25 minutes long, and that's it. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic!
I will drop a linky poo in the description.
Go for it.
And, in the chat, I mean, even.
Yeah, I do very much like the idea of that presentation that you talked about in Die Farbe, like the black and white, and then just only the color stands out. I think that's a really good idea.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautifully shot.
So before we hold on there, and Andrew, we know what you're up to. What you're trying there is the Haryan maneuver. I think you came in aiming to get in just after we discuss the topic, so you can avoid the particular material we covered tonight.
Yes, I said linky poo.
And frankly, Andrew, you made a very good choice in doing that. It was a very disturbing one tonight. Well done. However, okay. You're just in time. We've only just got onto discussing the general area of color out of space. I don't know if I mentioned already that it's one of the ones that Lovecraft considered his best. Certainly S.T. Joshi, who is a sort of a prolific Lovecraft biographer and expert, considers it one of his best, and possibly influences why it is covered so much. Sorry, Murgoot?
Joshi is the world's foremost Lovecraft expert, followed by Sandy Peterson of Chaosium Games fame. Joshi has cataloged the best of Lovecraft's 100,000 pieces of correspondence, letters, essays.
Joshi is putting the letters compendium out.
Yeah, he's put 5 of them out so far.
Yeah. Amazing.
He's Arkham House's lead editor, or he was.
We should probably give some explanation from that for people in the chat. So one of the things we'll drip feed you information about Lovecraft over the course of this arc and the next, guys. But one of the interesting features of H.P. Lovecraft's life is that he was, how can I say, if he were on Twitter, which he wouldn't last long on, to be honest, But if he weren't instantly banned
Yeah.
from Twitter,
I-
he would be one of your like million tweets guys. Your like Spoonie levels of daily tweeting, like 1,000 a day. He
Yeah.
was an absolutely prolific correspondent. I think it's fair to say, isn't it?
I'll just
and he was friends with some of the best pulp writers out there. Robert E. Howard, Clark Ashton Smith, August Derleth, Donald Wandre, Robert Bloch of Psycho fame.
Yes.
He actually got Bloch one of his first publishing contracts. And yeah.
And we are talking, I think Joshi literally mentioned about 10,000 pieces of correspondence.
Closer to 100,000.
Oh my goodness. I was trying to remember.
He's published about 10,000 of them. Most of them.
That's what I'm getting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. 100,000.
Yes.
What is this? Just like back and forth communications, books, short stories, that sort of stuff, or?
Yeah, and stuff that he worked on ghostwriting with people, comparing notes with Robert E. Howard, essays upon essays floating between the two of them. Clyde Barlow, who Lovecraft went on a trip down to Florida to meet. And for Lovecraft's distaste for homosexuals, Barlow was, well, flaming for the time. But they were close friends even still.
Right.
Did he also write to Algernon Blackwood?
I'm not sure. Was Blackwood?
I've just looked, and Blackwood died in 1951, so he was active well within Lovecraft's lifetime. And as Lovecraft was so very inspired by Edgar Allan Poe, there's no way he wouldn't have been aware of Algernon Blackwood.
He was very aware of Poe. His favorite authors, Machen was his favorite. Let's see. Why am I blanking?
While you're thinking, I'll bring Haryan on, who's arrived.
Lord Dunsany is his other major influence on his writing, especially his earlier and then the Dream Quest cycle.
Yeah.
All right, Harry, you keep a safe distance from me tonight if you're going to be an alpaca thought. Thank you very much.
What up, my alpacas?
You missed the fun, sexy time.
I'm very happy I missed that. This was a well-timed meeting then.
Jokes on you.
Haryan dodges every single one of my pride topics. It's disgraceful, but we'll make up for it later. How are you, Haryan? How are you doing?
I am pretty good. I'm sorry I'm late. We had a little discussion for the Wellington project, as hopefully people on this channel know I am a part of.
No worries.
But yeah, tonight was basically I know we could do it, and I managed to squeeze out 20 minutes early, so big win, really. When you think
That's all
it.
good. That's all good. We've done a quick shill at the start. So do you want to quickly shill, because I saw your video today. I enjoyed that.
Yes, join the Wellington project, and also I have a video made today, as mentioned by the lovely Proper Horror Show, on the endless legal struggles that come with enforcing a border. Basically, we're trying to send people to Rwanda that shouldn't be here, and our domestic laws are already stopping most of them doing that. And then obviously we've got foreign laws coming in saying, hang on, you can't do that. And it's like, why? And the reasons are because Tony Blair. So there you go. That's a 2-minute summary of the video.
Harry, do you want to give a quick summary of the Wellington project?
If you go to wellingtonproject.co.uk, we are I guess you call us, we're like a very young institution, a think tank almost. Pushing forward British patriotism, conservatism, free market economics, basic stuff of the kind of distant right, I guess you call it, though not so distant as some of them. I think if you like this channel, like for the kind of themes we go for, then you'll like the Wellington project. Just give it a look. We've got a YouTube channel as well. So the meeting today was just about doing more content for that. So I might end up streaming every Tuesday. So hopefully this thing stays Thursday and not too.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see. But and I may have some writing on the Wellington project eventually. I had some of the research materials I need actually arrived, and I'll tell you a quick story about that now because it was really quite sweet. There's a book that I mentioned way back in the BBFC history that you guys love so much. I know you guys love hearing about the BBFC history.
Love it.
Can't get enough.
Do you know what? I actually do want another BBFC stream. Well, not, you know what I mean, like the intro side of it. Because the last one, I genuinely was really interesting. I think because as we got to more modern times, I kind of really got into it. Like I said to you, I couldn't help but use a little bit of BBFC lore when I did the Suzanne Kappa case, because there was a little bit of controversy around horror films at the time, in particular Chucky, and the BBFC got involved, and I was like, oh, I know a little bit about that now.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's helpful, and it is handy because when it moves out of the abstract and you can place it in sort of in your life, it becomes a bit real, and you start to think like, oh yeah, I remember when the certificates looked like that. I've seen James Furman's signature probably 100 times in a cinema. And it'll relate to films that you know. And when you hear like, oh, yeah, I remember this was cut out. I saw that on the DVD. And then you can realize, why it was cut out of a cinema release. Well, when we're talking about the chap who was most active up to the 70s, John Trevelyan, who really changed how the BBFC looked at stuff. He was basically the chief censor who didn't actually believe in censoring. So he was a guy who was really trying to find a compromise between very different groups. And he wrote a book about his time as president of the BBFC, and it's called What the Censor Saw. And it's a bit of a pain in the bum to get hold of. But I found a second-hand copy, so I was thinking, okay, brilliant. Yes, Carminian, absolutely. If you've missed them, I do a series occasionally on history of the BBFC, and we have got to the mid-80s. You're going to love the next one. It's fun and very pride related, actually.
Can I just get to confirm? Sorry, once you've got through all of them, are you going to be putting them up as a supercut?
I'm going to try and do a supercut in parts, but I think some bits I might just re-record because I think I was very nervous doing them. So
fair enough.
I might re-record some of the material and try and get it more polished.
You know what I think you should do? I think you should write an article compiling all of the information you have about it and then record that article and put it on your channel. Along with another channel where you upload that article, I think that would be a really good idea.
That sounds pretty sweet. Well, you will definitely, I think Wellington Project will want the next one because I talk about Tony Blair in it.
Yes.
I will tease you guys by saying that I had a big question about a big policy change in the BBFC.
Okay.
And I was just trying to find out the answer, and I couldn't. And eventually, the trail led me to Tony Blair. But anyway, I'll just tease you with that. My plan is I will do that bit. I will see if there's something very notable in the 2000s. And then once I've covered all the BBFC history that I think's interesting to cover, I think we should probably have a discussion on censorship in general and what we think of it. Having watched all of that, and then maybe we'll all have had a considered stance on how to approach film censorship. So that's my plan. Anyway,
sounds good.
Back to the book. This is these are like derails within derails here. This is like House of Leaves in stream form here. Anyway, I need to get that one. I know, it's so good. Anyway, so this book
so hallucinatory. I vaguely remember it. That's how hallucinatory it was.
Did I even read that? Anyway, so this book, I've got John Trevelyan's book. He was secretary of the BBFC until 1973. And his book, What the Censor Saw, hard to get hold of. I found a second-hand copy. I was delighted. It arrived, and I was really chuffed. I opened it up and just to see when it was exactly published. And there's a whole load of newspaper clippings in the start. Like, what? Like, someone had just left these newspaper clippings of John Trevelyan's obituary. And I thought, oh, and that sort of hit me in the feelings a bit. So he died in the early 80s, and someone has saved clippings from a whole bunch of newspapers. I thought, oh, that's kind of touching and sweet. And then I moved them out the way, and I saw on the inside cover, and it's got his autograph.
Cool.
They didn't mention anything about this on the advert, but it looks like it's an autograph for personal friends of his.
Wow.
It's very sweet. And so I was just a bit touched by that. Nice. I've also got the BBFC's own account of their history, so we'll see how what they make of things and what the official line is. But I won't let us get distracted anymore. We've had a nice detour there. Haryan has arrived, and we basically just laid the groundwork for discussing Colour Out of Space. Murgoot has covered the other versions of it, including, I think we're basically saying that only Die Farbe, the German production, which you can find on YouTube, is worth watching.
Did we talk about the actual short story?
Not yet.
No, I don't think we did. I haven't read it, though. I've been terrible. I was going to try and dodge it because
really?
I didn't manage to read the story this time.
Damn it, because I'd actually listened to the audiobook earlier today.
All right, I want your summary, TCG.
Yeah, this film actually does lean quite into it a bit. I mean, there are some massive changes, like for a start, the family, like Nicolas Cage, in the original story, he's called Naham. They have 3 boys and a wife, obviously. The narrator, aka the hydrologist, isn't actually named in the film. And in the book, I beg your pardon. So they've given him a name in the film, obviously, but the story is told from the perspective of this unnamed narrator telling the story, recounting the story that he was told by one of the older residents, a guy called Amy Pierce, I believe.
And if I can just cut you off, if I can just cut you off there, like Murgoot will back me up. This is one of the absolute classic traits of Lovecraft, is you get not just a reported story, but you get someone reporting a reported story, making
they're like never named as well.
Yeah, it's almost yeah. I mean, to be fair, I don't know a lot of Lovecraft, so that was quite a new one for me. But it was almost like third-hand knowledge. But there's certain elements in this film that they have kept. I mean, alpacas is something that this film decided to introduce. They were horses in the short story. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the things that go on in the film, they do have elements of that. There seems to be a lot of there's more focus on the actual meteorite itself as well, and the actual studying of it, which I don't think really happened in this film. So it's quite interesting to get a better understanding of the actual meteorite itself and its composition and makeup and the sort of behavior it exhibited in certain conditions, which I thought was really interesting. And it just, as I say, added a new element because it wasn't really mentioned here, you know?
Well, the movie, Mr. Gardner, Nathan, is fairly well off instead of being a poor dirt farmer.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's another thing as well. Yeah, Naham's just a run-of-the-mill farmer.
And
yeah,
the middle son is... Hold on, I've got to mute.
They've all got massively
different... Or I'm under the flight line of the Air Force Base.
No worries. I would say that's one of like the classic Hollywood things is they really don't like working with poor protagonists unless that's like a real feature of the thing. Unless they're doing a thing on like, yeah, they don't. And
yeah,
On some level, I think that's just protagonists like automatically writing what they know.
Yeah, yeah,
And another one I think is they like setting things in big houses so
yeah.
that you can do more with like shots and angles.
Mm,
You don't want anyone in a cramped apartment because it's just going to be a nightmare to film in.
yeah,
Is
definitely.
one of the other reasons that
Yeah.
I think they do that.
I think what's his face? I think because there's no Ezra in the novel, in the short story as well.
Ezra is Amy.
Is it?
They
Is
just
Amy? Yeah,
changed
because
the name.
I thought that might have been the case, but Amy wasn't really a squatter though. Was it? Amy lived a bit further in Arkham.
Towards town.
Yeah, towards the town, whereas Ezra lives on the land as a, because they called him a squatter, didn't they, in the film? But yeah, that's what I got. I got the vibe that he was, because there were certain quotes that he said in the short story that were attributed to Ezra in the movie. I believe, in particular, well, I'm getting a bit ahead of
He's
myself,
not
but
quite right in the head.
yeah, the last scene we see Ezra in, I'll say that for now. Some of the lines attributed in the short story are then given to Ezra in the film, which I thought was quite cool. And also the film, the opening of this film opens up with direct quotations from the start of the book, which, and also it takes elements from, dogs are arguing, elements of the closing of the film are also taken from towards the end of the book as well, which I thought was quite nice. Nice little homage.
And for those people who've read the short story and watched the movie, the oldest son, Benny, in the movie is Thaddeus in the short story.
Correct.
The mother is never really named. But
She isn't, no.
It's Mrs. Gardner, but it's Teresa in the movie.
Yeah.
Jack, the youngest boy in the book, he's Merwin.
Merwin, yeah.
And Zenas, the middle son, is actually a girl in the movie, Lavinia. Which, interesting point, is the name of the daughter in the Dunwich Horror, which is set to be the second film in Richard Stanley's Lovecraft trilogy.
Oh, that's really interesting. Is this because this was the first of the trilogy, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, this is probably a good time to talk about one of the maybe slight problems. I loved this film. I really enjoyed it, but I don't know if we're getting a trilogy. Even though this was quite successful, unfortunately, there were some allegations made against the director.
Oof.
We don't know either way. Basically, a Me Too situation from a long-term live-in partner who claimed that he was abusive. These claims came out basically in 2021 over events in 2014, roughly, when they were in France. And she has produced some documentation of proof of injury. He has sued for defamation and libel, so he is fully rejecting it. We don't know.
Yeah.
Let's say it's a messy situation. I'm not going to comment because we just don't know at this time.
Yeah,
made messier by it's in the French court, so God knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, it is kind of awkward because that kind of knowledge stops me enjoying the fabulous photos of the director.
Page Unknown says in the chat that I'm assuming that's Facebook. Stanley says he's been found innocent by French courts.
Oh, fantastic! There's an update. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we couldn't find that, so thanks, Paige.
Nice
Paige, that is much appreciated. Yeah, I saw updates in November 2021. So I was just going to leave it and say I don't know, and if I am basically going to say I don't know, and not go into it too much. The main thing that we can take away from this is the production company basically kicked him out once the accusations came out. And that's really kind of put a halt to the trilogy as far as I know. So I do not know. I don't think we're getting more, unfortunately.
Well, that'll be a shame because I think I'm kind of with Paige on this one, but the first half was really good. The second half sort of fumbled the ball a little bit, but I would have liked to have seen. I'd like to see where they go with this. And I mean, I know it's not ideal, but if Stanley couldn't pick up the rest of the project, it'd be interesting to see if someone else could with a similar sort of style, just to keep that aesthetic and that theme alive.
I could see Elijah Wood and Nicolas Cage picking it up because they're both big Lovecraft fans.
Right. Yeah, because Elijah Wood was one of the executive producers on this film, which blew my mind.
Really?
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's unexpected, isn't it? Like when we found out that Mel Brooks was a producer for The Fly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Hey, Mitch in the chat, how you doing? How are you doing, man?
North, nah.
It's a very modern film.
I don't get the reference.
Face Off. You don't get that?
What's Face Off?
Face Off, 1998, John Travolta, Nicolas Cage.
No.
Oh, Haryan probably wasn't even born then.
In 1998.
Yeah.
No, I was born. I was 2.
Disgraceful.
Okay.
Anyway. Trouble is, I think the director's clearly done so much with this, and I found it really interesting that this guy Richard Stanley, he is the guy behind cult classics like Hardware and Dust Devil, which Murgoot, you were speaking in praise of.
Yes.
And also the famously disastrous production that was The Island of Dr. Moreau. This is that guy. The guy who abandoned set.
Yeah, something about Marlon Brando chasing him off the set. Literally.
He's got a weird history of directing. He has like decade-long breaks between his directing jobs.
A lot of his stuff is screenplays and stage and short films. He's actually South African. He does a lot of small stuff.
Well, I'm on his Wikipedia, so I'm just kind of surprised at that, given what he did with this film. I would have thought, even on a mainstream level, Hollywood would have loved films like this because it's really well directed with a lot of the shots and a lot of the kind of decisions for it. I mean, it was a bit tismy at the start. I was a bit like, what? Especially at the start, where they play pretty loud music over all the dialogue at the start, and I don't think it fit. But then,
I thought
it's fine. Like, didn't really have a problem with the rest of it. In fact, a lot of it was pretty good. So, yeah.
I mean, one thing that struck me is this was just an absolutely gorgeous film.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's visually stunning. I was absolutely blown away by so much of it.
Yeah, some of the weirdest parts for me were when they seem to switch between puppets for some of the kind of monsters and then CGI in like cut shots. It's like in one shot it's a CGI, in another shot, in the very next shot after a cut it's a puppet, and I'm like, whoa, don't do that.
That's pretty standard. They will do that a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah, can I just say for a 2019, 2020 film, the CGI was
it's a bit lacking.
It was a lot to be desired. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was, especially like the alien cricket or whatever it was, or the
I got that saved.
The mantis, the alien mantis.
I wasn't happy with that.
That was pretty naff, especially the close up. That was
I thought that was one of the better CGI bits.
Oh really? Nah, man.
Haryan, what are you doing?
I felt very
one of the better bits.
At least the alpacas were practicals.
Yeah, the alpacas were practicals. Yeah, I didn't think that looked too bad compared to the rest of the
didn't like
CGI personally. I didn't think it was good. I just think this is the best CGI I had.
It's really stood out to me.
$6 million, they did pretty well.
Yeah,
that's less than some Sci-Fi Channel productions.
Yeah. Well, it helped that they moved it out to what was it, Portugal?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't take me out of the movie, but it was just I thought, oh, okay, we're using that kind of CGI. Oh, okay. You know me, I love my practical effects anyway. Give me practical effects any day of the week.
Oh, definitely. definitely.
Wait till Avatar 2 comes out.
I still haven't seen the first one.
Have you not?
I didn't mind
Alright.
the CGI this time around because I proceeded to watch The Curse and Die Monster Die right before I watched it again. My mistake, but it made this one so much more enjoyable.
That's the way to do it. I mean, it's weird, but it's like something like this bug stands out to me because it's meant to be realistic and taking place in a real scene. But the things like the massive CGI overload where everything's weird colors and waves of energy flow actually works for me, even though it's like obviously more CGI. But I can't really because I think it's meant to be otherworldly. It works. I'm not framing that very well, but I just
Works for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to harp on about that really. You know, we're horror movie fans. Occasionally, subpar effects happen, and people do the best with what they have at the time. I should mention actually, this kid was a really pleasant chap to appear. Where is he? There, we've got him. Good. This lad, absolute joy scene. Did you guys recognize this lad? And don't worry, we haven't covered him on channel.
Wait, are we talking about the dog or Jack?
No, the kid.
Oh, the kid. Okay, because I thought you were talking about Doggo for a sec. No.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry.
I'm probably going to kick myself though.
Well, I'm cheating and looking at Wikipedia. Julian Hilliard.
Yeah. Don't worry. We haven't covered him on the channel, but we're going to. He is in The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, okay.
So he plays the young version of the character called Luke. And
right, okay.
It was just really neat seeing him again because I thought he did a fantastic job. Like the kid who plays Georgie in the 2017 It, I've seen that kid appearing everywhere. Like he was in Lock and Key. Like
right.
Yeah.
Oh my! Sorry, another casting thing. The guy who played Wade, Elliot Knight. I thought I recognized him, and now I've seen it. I get it. The guy's actually English, and he plays one of the main characters in the new Modern Warfare games, and that's why I recognized him because they use they use lifelike features of the actors for the characters in game. So he plays Gaz in the new Call of Duty, the new Modern Warfares. So I'll be in the next game of that as well. Which is so weird because it's the classic British thing of British people do really good American accents. Because I assume the guy was just American, so I'm like, where do I know him from? But I know him as a Londoner in Modern Warfare. So there you go. Yeah. Wow, star-studded cast, clearly.
Well, they do all right. You know, you have got Nic Cage, you've got Jolie Richardson, who I thought was really good in this. I really liked the daughter as well. I really liked her. I thought when we had that
Lavinia.
opening scene, actually, we should probably detail the opening scene. If you guys haven't seen it, again, we're spoiling the whole movie for you, but you start off with something that looks absolutely beautiful. And it's Lavinia here with her purple hair doing a Wiccan ritual. And
which has no part in the story.
Part in the story. And waifu got very annoyed that she didn't close the circle after leaving. I don't know if the Alabastard is still around. Did that annoy you too, Wheezy, when you saw that? Were you like, close the circle, darn it? I can imagine you sort of shouting at the screen. Inappropriate ritual.
I love how you two are complaining about that, and my first thought was like when she gets on the horse with no riding boots and no helmet, I was like, oh, that's bad. And then Nic Cage is like, Nathan's like, oh, you're not supposed to do that. Don't let your mother know. I'm like, oh, typical dad. I love it already.
It's just occurring to me now. Does the Wiccan element have anything to do with the rest of the story? Or does it?
I feel like it was just inserted to make the end of the movie seem fitting when she does the whole, like when she gets possessed.
The
old Wiccan
about that.
her symbols start like lighting up and stuff. Like I think it was. I just think it was plugged in because, like Murgoot rightly said, witchcraft, and I mean the only time witchcraft is mentioned in the original Lovecraft short story is when they're saying that strange days haven't happened in Arkham since the witch trials. That's the only mention, is that people haven't been acting this strange since those times. But there's no witchcraft or sorcery or anything like that in the film. So in the movie, in the book, I mean.
Yeah, I'd like to point we've been vindicated. Woohoo. Wheezy also noticed and was annoyed. Yeah. That was brilliant.
It is also a pointer to Lavinia Wheatley in the Dunwich Horror, which is supposed to be next. So, and their family are witches. So,
yeah, I was fine with kind of the hexing or the witch circle or whatever at the start. It was just a way. It was just a way to introduce the girl to. I want to call him Gaz, but I shouldn't call him that. Wade and Lavinia. That's it.
Yeah. Ward Phillips, not
Ward.
Wade.
Yeah.
Which is a tip of the hat to Howard Phillips Lovecraft.
While we're close. Sorry, you finish.
Go
on.
Ward Phillips, Howard Phillips Lovecraft. Also, it's a slight dig at Lovecraft's racism because they specifically put him in as a black character.
I was gonna ask if the narrator in the short story was black, but I knew the answer.
Nope.
They're going to do that in a sort of like I don't know. It feels like if they're going to adapt Lovecraft, they're going to do that to kind of. I mean, how can I say?
Sorry, I just want to mention that in the short story, the narrator makes it very clear, very, very clear that foreigners cannot hack Arkham. The Italians tried to live there, didn't work out for them after the strange days. The Poles, all sorts of other nationalities. That's and they were like, but the foreigners just couldn't make it there, and all would eventually leave. It wasn't a nice place for foreigners. I knew you'd say that, and I just sort of thought, yeah, okay, that sounds like Lovecraft projecting onto the pages right there.
I feel like basically because the issue of H P Lovecraft's worldview that is very much against modern sensibility and can actually, it can be quite jarring to read.
Yeah,
if they're going to adapt him, it feels like they have to do something about that. And in this way, where they made that casting choice, that kind of assuage, and also, gender swapped a few of the characters, it does feel like they kind of assuage the issue without affecting the story, which is, much more my preferred way of doing it.
I thought, because when I saw like the black guy come in, he's the surveyor. I mean, I've not read The Color of Space, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure they'd introduced two main characters at the start, and one of them being black. As you say, it's a way of. They don't even mention it really. They don't even have a go at it. The guy just wanted to tell a story. I don't think he was thinking about it.
Yeah, it might be a sort of casting thing because in 2019 the full-on culture war against Lovecraft was happening. And I think there's no way that a casting director and producer wouldn't have said that they need to do something about that, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. The thought of them inserting the gentleman who played Ward Phillips in just as a sly dig to Lovecraft's, views at the time. I think I personally would like to think that it didn't factor in, because to be honest with you, I think that would be quite insulting to the man who played him, because I thought he was pretty good.
The guy he was.
He did a fine job.
And it would just, to me, it would just be disrespectful we're going to hire you because Lovecraft would hate you. And it's like, well, can we not cast?
Well,
if we're gonna, we should do it on those reasons.
It's the unfortunate thing with the modern paradigm, isn't it? If anyone's race swapped, if anyone's gender swapped, whatever, it's always assumed to be woke. But then obviously with this film, where they've clearly kept quite close to the story.
They have, yeah. Did you read the short story?
I've not. Well, no, I've not read it, unfortunately.
Okay.
I
mean,
have
to be
the
fair,
whole Lovecraft collection, so I should have, but I didn't have
I mean,
time.
well, to be fair, I only listened to the audiobook today, and but yeah, I'd agree. They kept quite close to it. And to be fair, we're talking about a book that when was it released? 1923, 26. But yeah, so you know, it's almost 100 years old now. Now, I think we can sort of allow some sort of creative freedoms, especially when you're trying to make it for a modern audience. It doesn't have to be like a shot for shot remake. I mean,
the race doesn't matter.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. I mean,
it's subtle, not a sledgehammer, which is a good thing.
That's exactly. If it's a case of, you know, we're going to insert person here because of X ideological reason, then it's like, whatever, man. Like, I'm not interested in that. But the way that they handled it, or the way that they cast this film, I thought was really good.
Yeah, I want to talk about the actual plot now because it's one of the best bits.
Go for it.
All right. Well,
I'm not rushing to the 3-minute summary. I'm just saying in general because I don't want to talk about like, oh, there's a black guy in the film. It's like, yeah, I don't care.
I know. It's ultimately a minor issue. It's just I prefer to read it as just like a little bit of insurance against people going for the film, so that you do that and then you cast a chap who does the job absolutely fine. You wouldn't have to think about it if there weren't a cultural war against Lovecraft. This puts that to the side.
Yeah, this is it, and I think that's one of the disappointing things about, you know, the state of, I don't know, Hollywood, or, you know, just general sort of movie, TVs, media, that sort of stuff nowadays. There's such a push. An almost unnecessary push to sort of highlight, oh, I'm this, I'm that. We're going to bring this person in because they are this, they are that. When actually it should be they're a good actor, or they're a good actress, or they're a good singer, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fact is, because it's so prominent, it's so in your face nowadays, that when people are hired on their merit, but they also happen to tick a certain box, people will immediately go, or some people may immediately question that, or even assume it. And, you know, it's unfortunate. But for the record, I don't think that was a factor in this film.
We've talked about this for like 5 minutes now. I just want to say, I love the fact that they got the crazy guy in as Tommy Chong.
Yes.
Cheech and Chong.
Yes.
It steals almost every scene that he's in.
Yeah.
It feels like a stunt casting, and they just rolled the dice and they hit double sixes.
Yeah.
He is absolutely amazing.
Murgoot, would you agree with me saying that Ami's character in the short story seems to have been split up between different characters across this movie? So like elements of Ami are in Ezra, or also in Lavinia and things like that.
Somewhat, but Ezra carries most of the not quite right in the head and some of the more disconcerting lines and some of the funnier lines.
Yeah. That's cool. I just want to get your take on that, because that, as I was listening to the story, there was some elements, again, like the beginning, when he met him and whatnot. I just felt like, oh, okay, that's that would have been Ezra. Lavinia would have covered that bit. It was just, again, it was interesting because Haryan, there's no, as you know, there's no Ami in the film, but in the short story, as I say, the narrator's telling the story from Ami's perspective. And you know, he was quite a main focal point in the novel, but obviously there's no quote unquote Ami at all, because you're getting it from the perspective of the gardeners.
Mm-hmm. Which works.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it would be odd if you tried to tell the story of the gardeners through a third party, and then that information is then relayed by another third party, and you try and tell it in a film. Titanic did that.
Yeah, I mean, generally you'd avoid it because it does seem kind of awkward. But I was going to pose the question, and it seems like a good time to do it now. is a sort of a central flaw with trying to do Lovecraft in general, and this film in particular, as a film, this story in particular as a film, just because Lovecraft leans a lot on the indescribable, and sort of there's sort of a thing of when you say it's a color out of space, it's a color I can't describe.
Oh.
It's like ultimately,
dude, it's
color-
bright and purple.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'd explained a bit about magenta being the oddest color because it doesn't actually have a true wavelength on the spectrum. It's the photonegative of fluorescent lime green, which why they used it in Die Farbra and they use it in this movie.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward. It's maybe something you have to suspend your belief over, but it's an inherent limitation that the indescribable color will be on screen, and it has to be something that can be represented through the pixels on your screen, whereas in the book it can be described as indescribable, and Lovecraft really works with that. Now, one of the best ways of dealing with that, I think, is going to be the film that we end our arc on, which is In the Mouth of Madness. You have some Lovecraftian horrors in there, but as with a lot of the best movie monsters, you barely see them. And they're like, you're getting glimpses of body parts in a disturbing, disorientating way, so you never really get a true idea of what they are, and that kind of works. But I feel that the film isn't sunk by that, but it does create a tiny bit of tension around a few key lines, like it was a color I can't describe, which is I don't know, pinky purple.
It's really bright and purple, dude.
It's like the equivalent of it was the most magnificent city on earth, or which is like it's the set
London,
that we could afford, or the largest army is like how many extras can we afford? The most beautiful woman I ever saw is the woman that you're available to cast.
You got to do it. You got to. I mean, with things like the largest army, it's like you got to do that within the universe. And obviously, it's made easier with CGI, as Lord of the Rings showed. But in this, I didn't really mind that he's like, I can't really describe it, because it's like you can play it off that he's somewhat traumatized. He's having to deal with his son and his whole family being traumatized by this meteor that struck, and there's he's not. I mean, he's not banging his wife as well, so his mind's not going to be in the right place. But there's a lot of reasons for it. But in the book, it's a lot easier just to say, "Oh, this is literally indescribable," which is why it's hard to translate Lovecraft to film. Having said that, I'll say it now. This film did it pretty well, considering.
Amazingly well. I've kept Tommy Chong on there quite a while, but I really enjoyed him. He was fantastic. I do like
Ezra, Well, I do, because that's the scene where Ward goes in, doesn't he? And he's trying to basically just tell him, like, don't drink the water. And then he's like, oh, there are, like, spirits under this floor talking to me. Just like, stop drinking the water. I did like that. And the whole, it's kind of.
Oh, I like this scene.
The whole thing with the guy's just clearly, Nathan's just clearly dead awkward. You know what? Nic Cage is an underrated actor. Everyone loves him because they think he's a meme.
I think he was, but he plays meme a lot. Whereas in this, I felt he was taking it really seriously. The only thing I had a question about was, I think one or two touches were thrown in to be like meme fodder. Like he kind of knew if he got a good meme out of it, it would help the film. So I'm thinking like the fact that they're alpaca farmers is basically there as meme fodder. And I also thought this scene with the alpacas later in the film, I've got, this is my favorite screen cap I took. Like, I thought this was meme fodder.
Yeah,
like they threw it in so you could have a little bit of, you could season the film with a little bit of Nicolas Cage crazy juice,
I mean, you say it's a meme, but I was totally on board with him killing them. I was totally in this scene, to be honest. I didn't.
Oh,
I could
sure.
see why it could be,
I
yeah.
just think it's the fact that they're alpacas is there to give it a little bit of that crazy factor.
I think, to be honest, I think they did alpacas because they're not as beloved as horses, basically.
Hey,
Oh, I'm not being funny. If I tried to show this film to Tash, I don't think she'd watch it just because she'd have to see a load of horses shot in the face. That's probably a reason why they chose alpacas as well.
The trouble was I got that doom, like, if you prominently feature an animal in your horror movie, I'm like, that's so adorable. Oh, please let it live. Please. Please. Like, get out of this movie. It's not going to end well.
I was also going to mention with this scene, this is one of those rare times Hollywood understands guns, because it was actually 2 shots, reload, and they actually repeated it about 4 times. And my bullet autism was very happy with the scene, I have to say, with his under over double barrel. So there you go. There's the gun autism. Yeah, but I did like the bit where because it does a close up of one of them where it's like the old one where the cut would be slightly, the scene would be, the cut would be slightly too long, where it'd be obvious it's a model, but this one cut it perfectly, where it's like, boom, here's an boom, there's a dead alpaca instead.
Yeah. By the way, are we reading this scene as a massive homage to The Thing?
Yep.
yes.
I thought it was gay.
What?
Making a joke of you, making a gay reading.
Oh no!
No, this film wasn't gay with Nicolas Cage holding a long shaft. Even though they're technically called barrels.
The other fun thing about Nic Cage is he went full method. He channeled his actual father for the nice dad, mean dad.
Oh, really?
He spoke about it in interviews that he channeled his own father, how his father treated him to get that effect.
Oh, nice. I was gonna. This is probably actually one of my favorite scenes in the film, because as well, you can kind of see it in the screenshot you've got, which is very good. But can you see how kind of the smoke makes the blades of light come through really well, along with a bit of the red? I really liked how the smoke works in this scene. I was really noticing that sort of thing.
Just
the smoke and the blood mist and the color.
That was the thing I enjoyed as well. Like even when you get a close up on him reloading, the barrels are still smoking as they do in real life. Because I've actually this is the only gun I've ever shot. This type of over/under barrel, the double barreled shotgun. And yeah, the smoke stays for longer than you'd think. So I don't know how they did it. Maybe they just had him shoot a real gun. Honestly,
At real alpacas.
Well, that would explain the red mist.
Yeah.
Folks, can I have chicken emojis in the chat for waifu, please? Chickens in the chat, if you don't mind. Got a tradition here. Yeah, again, it just beautiful design, really beautiful stuff. So visually stunning and creative, and you can't get that visual. I've got another one of the alpacas here that I thought was absolutely beautiful. Yeah, just this I thought so lovely and sinister.
Man, I cannot tell what that color is.
It's just indescribable.
Rainbow BTFO'd.
Yeah. No, as I say, this film was excellently shot, really. Yeah, the only real issue I have is when the music was too loud near the beginning, and I was near the end as well. But that's when kind of things are climaxing, because I mean, this is jumping ahead, obviously, but we're not really doing a plot synopsis of this, because honestly, you should just go see this film.
You absolutely should go and see this film.
Definitely.
It is Dom here. Thank you for a chicken, Dom. Dom has said, yeah, second best Lovecraftian film after Reanimator. Wait till the end of the arc, but I am absolutely putting this very high up. I really enjoyed this. I think this got Lovecraft so well, and it was so weird, and it did the story, and it also, as Murgoot, as you pointed out, it does build up lots of little things that could lead into further Lovecraft mythos, which is exactly what Lovecraft would have wanted. He wanted this to be a mythos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, apart from
Yog-Sothory, when Lavinia goes to the well and opens up her eyes and glows purple and sees through the gate, and that's a representation of Yog-Sothoth on the other side, the key in the gate. He who is on the outside and is omniscient because he can see all time and space from the outside. And he's the major secondary antagonist of the Dunwich Horror.
Well, this little bit, it was a great sequence that they gave us, just as, I guess, something to, just like a real teaser, a little tip of the hat to the Lovecraft fans.
Yep.
To get you anticipating. Very well done. It did sort of clash with the visuals of the rest of the film, but don't care.
That's kind of
enjoyed it. Enjoyed it. Yeah,
Well, it's
enjoyed
kind
it.
of a preview for the next movie, a taster.
Exactly. I've got that bit here. This is what I meant about when I felt the CGI was strongest.
Yeah.
Just enhancing, making it incredibly otherworldly.
Where's the CGI here? Is it her face?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, build the eyes in, make the skin look weird, change the color tone. You know, this is a Lumetri color in overdrive, working overtime. You know,
it's pretty impressive to make kind of blood red stand out compared to purple. So similar colors, really.
Yeah,
It's not purple, Harry, and it's an indescribable color.
The indescribable color.
Yes.
Of course.
I mean, we could do the plot briefly. Shall we go for like a short synopsis, and then I'd just like to ask about your highlights and what you took from it.
Well, of course, I can do the 3-minute summary.
All right. If you start in 2 seconds, we can time easily. Go.
Okay. So this Nathan and his family moved to Nathan's dad's farm because his wife had a vasectomy, and they basically wanted a new life and for her to recover. While there, hydrologist Ward Phillips, the black guy, he comes in and says, "He's saying something, TCG."
Yeah, his wife had a vasectomy.
Mastectomy. Did I say vasectomy?
You did. I know this is Pride Month, but we already got the theme in this tonight. You're fine.
Incredible. Well, mastectomy. I thank you for correcting me. So Wade Phillips comes in, says he's a hydrologist and surveyor looking to develop a dam in the area and checking the water table and things like that. Family are relatively normal. You know, they have their arguments. The girl goes out on a horse. The boys help around with the farm and all that. It's all great.
The oldest boy smokes a lot of pot with Ezra.
Yep, absolutely. The oldest boy's a crackhead. Pothead. Man, I'm not very detailed here. But one night, when the youngest boy is woken up by a large noise, we have this weird color coming through the whole house, which half of them don't notice because they're either asleep or, as you know, the other two are starting off foreplay. But a meteorite hits and terrifies and traumatizes the youngest. That is Jack. This obviously gets the attention of the nearby town. Media comes. The mayor mentions, like, oh, you should have just sold me this place because obviously she wants to build a dam there, etc. I don't really come back in there, to be fair. And weird things happen, but they've got the attention. Skip a day. The weird meteorite's gone. It's nowhere to be seen. But Jack starts acting a bit weird, starts randomly whistling, saying he's playing with his friends. And he says, oh, you know, there's a guy in the well. There's no guy in the well. Until
I can't stress how much I loved that bit.
Yeah, until Lavinia hears the whistle back from the well. The whole middle bit's just kind of weird things start happening. I don't know how much detail you need.
In fairness,
They're being poisoned by the color in the water.
Yeah, the water's contaminated, as they say. If you were
going to be critical of the film, you could say like many a standard haunting film, it's a period of just escalation where things kind of happen, and any of those things could happen. It's like that's true, But it's
Well,
also it's a nature of the story. So shush.
Well, this is what makes the film so much better
Mm.
than, say, Event Horizon. I can understand what the Colour from Space is trying to do.
Mm.
I can understand, even though it's supposed to obviously be existential, it's clearly trying to take over the farm, basically, by confusing them, by mind controlling them to an extent, and that's made really clear by by Nathan. When sometimes he's lucid, and at other times he shoots his wife and says, "That wasn't my family." To be fair, at that point, his wife was fused with the youngest.
Oh, that was
a horrific monster. I'm not being funny. You know the bit where what's she called? I'll just call her
Lavinia.
Lavinia. Yeah.
You know, when she's like thrown into the room, being like, "Feed your mother," and then there's kind of like a couple of moments to kind of try and get what's going on. And it's a dark room, and then the creature just crawls across. I audibly shouted, "Jesus Christ!"
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely pooed myself.
I want to come out there and say, like, this was one of the this is one of the bits that really got me. This is such a creative, messed up visual.
Yeah. I would say this was the moment when I said FUCK, comma, this film. It was that bit, because just I don't like things in horror where children are suffering. You know, like
that's my
opening
favorite
scene. I don't like. Yeah, but you're evil, right? You're evil. Like you get a sexual kick out of it, right? Let's just
not
leave.
sexual.
Oh, come on, Haryan.
So I come down wanking over this.
but I was like, I don't know if I can keep watching this, because the scene where they brought them in, and they were, you could tell they were like both writhing in agony. And what I loved as well about, while I found it really disturbing, what I love about it was that they made you wait to see what had happened, you know, because as soon as it happened, they threw like a blanket over them or whatever it was, and they were out of camera shot. You couldn't really see what was going on. They whack them on the sofa. You're seeing behind the sofa, you get like a glimpse of a hand, you know, and then it's right at the end they show this. I was just like, mate, I was really hoping that they would get unfused, and then I realized that this is a Lovecraft film. The chances of that happening was extremely unlikely. But it was quite emotional, and a bit later on when he goes to where he goes to sort of unalive Teresa, and then he sort of repeats, you'll always be my golden lady, and lets him live. And then
the kiss, man. Oh.
Yeah.
And then
I know. And then when he eventually does do it, he's like, "Oh, that's not my family." And then he obviously, kills Jack. When Jack just sort of struggles to mouth, "Daddy," it was it got me. It got me. Powerful.
Yeah, this was really well done.
Powerful.
Waifu was right. Smash the like.
I will
Merge,
mention,
fuse with the like button.
I will mention that the short novel does not have this. To my understanding, it doesn't.
Well,
it doesn't have the fuse. They don't.
If I can, TCG, could you just do me a favor here? You've listened to the audiobook. Could you describe what the fate of what happens to the wife? Because there's actually a lot I want to say about what the film did. I think the film makes an amazing change.
Oh my gosh. Murgoot could probably help me out with this, because I sort of it's escaping me a little bit now. But
no, it's okay. It was vague. It was vague.
Yeah, it's just one day she's gone. She's essentially like not ash, but like it's not really made clear what's happened to her, other than she
does turn to ash in the story.
She does turn to ash.
Yeah.
And doesn't the youngest just run away one day? Like he gets out of the house at night with a lamp, and they go looking for him, and he's gone, and the lamp's by the well, or there was like a ash where nearby the well. So nothing. This was a massive change compared to the story. It was still powerful nonetheless.
Oh yeah. Well, if I may, I think it might be
even more.
How can I say? The original would have worked. But there is something in the thing they did here that is absolutely mind-blowing.
I think it really tapped into that Lovecraftian sort of style.
Well, there's another layer to this. If I can just do the reading quickly.
Yes.
Like, so there's another layer that makes this absolute nightmare fuel. Like, this is already messing you up, but if you want it, the thing that delivers a trauma, think about what Haryan told us about Teresa at the start. She's deeply troubled and insecure and uneasy being touched and intimate with her husband because she's had the mastectomy, yeah? So she's got a major part of her missing and she's unable to contact, like, be intimate with her family, right?
Okay.
She's missing parts of her body, which is a cause of great fear. What does she do to be monstrous? She fuses with her family. It's like she gains a piece of her that was missing and she incorporates it back. It's like this really nightmarish reflection of what she wants to do to heal.
That is a demented reading.
She's missing bits of herself, so she draws her family in and fuses it. Ugh.
That is, demented.
A little on the nose, don't you think?
It's, I mean, you can bring in the idea of it's like, you know, who can do the best Peterson and say it's a reflection of the devouring mother?
Oh, God.
That's suddenly rough.
I don't know. It's who can do the best Kermit impression?
Not
It's
me.
the devouring mother. You need to go clean your monument to Cthulhu. That's terrible.
Oh, wash your penis.
Guys, don't lop off your titties.
Yeah. So like that's why I really wanted to talk about this, just because I thought they'd added the mastectomy and they had added this, and I thought I just saw that there is a clear connection there. And I'm bumping the film up a couple of points just for this.
Oh my God! Do you know
that
what?
was very clever.
Do you know what? I'm not even joking, because I was sort of watching this film on the because I only watched this yesterday, I think it was, and now that you mention it, I did think to myself whether the fact that they mentioned the mastectomy or the mastectomy earlier on in the film, whether this was sort of a representation. I didn't really think too hard about it, but now that you mention it, that kind of does sort of that does make a lot of sense, because they didn't really sort of harp on the cancer as such. Even, and what I found really interesting was one of the effects that Nathan had was that everywhere he went, you know, there was a really rotten smell, and he mentions that it was a cat. He talks about like, oh, it's the same smell as the cancer ward that my father was. It doesn't mention his wife, but he references the cancer ward that his father was on, and the stench there. Although he does turn around to him and say, "You know all about that," and I was like, "Oh, yeah."
I would like to get your thoughts on another scene. Like you, TCG, you talked about a scene where you wanted to say "F this" and duck out.
That was that film, yeah. That was that moment.
Waifu and I had a second moment where we were. Waifu literally turned away and said, "Tell me when it's over," and it's this one.
Oh, mate.
I could see it. I could see it coming a mile off, but it was so well done. Oh, wait, I mean, that was the idea. It was telegraphing it.
I messaged you in the group here as well about this. Dinner's ready.
Interestingly enough, it's about the same amount of force to cut a carrot as it is to cut a finger. So there you go.
Well, cheers.
So yeah, even if she was out of it, she wouldn't have noticed. Even if she was like with it, she would have like used the same amount of force to cut through a finger. So there you go.
Yeah, it like the fact that it's set up and obvious works just because you're so on edge waiting for it.
Oh God, it was horrible.
It was so telegraphic. Yeah, it was so. Telegraphing isn't an issue. It's how it's. Yeah, it's how it's executed.
Execution, yeah, the execution.
Wow.
Completely.
Beautiful. Really well done. Yeah,
Murgoot, how did you take this scene? Did this get you? I don't know what your horror tolerance
When I
is.
initially saw it, it was kind of a, oh dear God, and then it was, oh, it's typical horror movie accident.
Yeah, I mean,
I've seen way too many slashers.
Yeah, it's because again, it's dare I say it's done tastefully, where you have half a second where it actually cuts through the fingers, so you know exactly what you've done, but then it just cuts straight to the kid with blood on his face or blood splashing on his face, and it's like that's all. You probably don't even need the fingers being cut, really, but I don't mind it being. I don't think it takes away from it with that shot being put in. Plus
There's a really interesting trend in like cinema violence of actually going for the really brief cut now.
Yeah,
so I'm thinking of like spoilers, Game of Thrones season 1, a certain beheading happens, and you get about 3 frames of the beheading and it's gone. Another example is Pan's Labyrinth. There is a leg that gets amputated. And again, you get about 4 frames, but you get a lot of setup for them going to make the saw. And it's very similar to this in that you know something's going to get cut off and the tension is building up. And then they actually, because they built the tension up so well, they only need to give you about 3 or 4 frames. And you've already like jumped out your skin and turned away in horror.
Well, that's the thing. If you've telegraphed it well, why do you need to then show so much of what's going on? Like, you know, Ned Stark's going to be beheaded. Why do you need to show? Like, do you need his head coming off and blood splurting out? No, you just need half a second where the sword goes halfway through his neck, and that's all you really need. So, and this was one of them. This was the same thing. It's like you can see a cutting carriage, you can see a finger near it, you can see, you know, there's close to her face where she's clearly not lucid, and then she just cuts through her fingers, and the kid's like, "Oh my God!" And that's the thing. The youngest kid had to see that. I love another massive praise to this film. The kids act like kids. He went up to his dad. He didn't say, "Oh my God, Mummy just chopped her index and middle finger off," like some films would do. It's like Mummy's hurt. It's like perfect. And you know, obviously a 7-year-old said that. What's the dad gonna think? Oh, she's nicked herself, or you know, she chopped off a limb. It's hard to tell with kids. So great, absolute great work, as I say. If I mentioned I like this film.
No, it's good. I didn't know what to expect. People had recommended it. I was kind of in love with it just from the visuals. I was wary when they started with the Wiccan ritual and Lavinia being watched by Ward, and I thought, they're going to play this off as a kind of cringy meet cute where she's super embarrassed. And no, she was confident, and
it was just a teenage girl being cringe.
Yeah. She's being cringe, but she kind of owned it. And then he wasn't a super Chad at her. Like he was, it was kind of nice. They were both really believable people. I just kind of love that. And then you have that beautiful shot of her walking away with a triangle in her hair. She's got a, I don't know how you'd call it, but her hair is being tied back by something that has the shape of a silver triangle. And it looks wonderfully sort of mystical and beautiful, and that's just such a great shot. This film is gorgeous.
Yeah, and it's got as I say, it's got a plot that, you know, doesn't make me just go, "Oh, you're just liking it for superficial reasons." It's like, no, the superficial reasons are the frosting on the cake, and the cake isn't a shit sandwich. So.
All of Stanley's movies that I've seen are beautifully shot. Even the ugliest dystopias, like in Hardware, are beautifully shot.
Yeah, it's almost like I think he does do that beginning kind of witch ritual as to subvert your expectations later on. It's like, oh, you think this is going to be some black magic stuff? Oh, it's actually sci-fi. It's like, oh, neat.
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
if
like when Lovecraft wrote it, he'd gotten back into astronomy and was looking into the physics of asteroids and meteoroids. And he had also read an article about the radium girls who were all dying of cancer, and since radium glowed in the dark and all that, he combined the two into the story, and basically he was 20 years ahead of his time talking about radiation poisoning.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, wow. Explains this story, to be fair.
Dead air.
I know there's dead air. There's so much to praise for this film. I don't know where to go next.
Well, it is sort of tricky because would it be fair to say that you do enter something of like a deliberately incredibly confusing maelstrom?
It does feel like that. It does feel like that.
Which is not a criticism because it's kind of essential.
Yeah, I think it's clearly intentional.
It's not like
I think it.
Go on.
Because I was to say, because at first I was like getting a bit like, okay, what's going on? You know, where is this film going? But I think Ezra sort of, you know, said it quite well, where, you know, where he's like, not everything is as it seems, and you know, things might be recognizable, and it kind of sort of made sense to me that as the person watching the film, maybe I'm not supposed to really understand what is happening at certain points of the film, because this is such a mystical force that's come from outside, you know, that's come from space essentially. You know, we know nothing about it. We don't know the properties. We don't know how it works. As I say, the film intentionally doesn't go into detail about the physical makeup of the meteorite. You know so little that exactly, you know so little about what you're dealing with, that the things that just clearly don't make sense actually make sense from a storytelling perspective.
Well, I was going to say, it never goes beyond established mechanics.
Correct.
It establishes the color, establishes what it can do. You know, even in small, so it can create life with the, you know, mantis thing,
and the flora.
I guess you could, and the flora, yeah, which could, you know, you can kind of say it does when it establishes it confuses fusing people or objects, or, you know, well, life, I guess.
Yeah, just mucks about with the genetic makeup of things.
Stops people being lucid, can almost mind control them in not even subtle ways, just explicit ways. And I think, because I'm thinking about the car's not working. I mean, that you can just imply that, you know, when Val's you know, washing the blood off the knife, you know, she lets the sink run, it's overflowing, and you can, you know, think, or you can infer that as that's happening, she's off for, you know, cutting the ignition of the car or something. It's this stuff's inferred. It doesn't need to be explicit like that, which is, you know, if that stuff was explicit, you know, it'd be fine, but I think it'd take away from the film, honestly.
Yeah, you have these mysteries built in, but that's an amazing example of how there is an in-story explanation. And when you think about it, you get the unspoken method of the monster, the color here, and it's starting off with little things, like it tries growing a flower, and then you have the nice thing, like it then builds on that to really make all their crops bountiful, but they taste absolutely gash, you know.
Yeah.
So it's showing like it's understanding the mechanics but not the spirit.
I think,
and then after that, it starts messing with animals, trying to take them over, and then it obviously moves on to humans, and then it kind of, in my understanding, it gets what it wants and it's learned what it wants, and it leaves, whilst leaving the tiniest bit of itself left.
This is going to sound really stupid, but has anybody have any of you seen the movie Evolution with David Duchovny? Yeah,
I don't know why.
And Sean William Scott.
That's the one.
And Julianne Moore.
Yep.
Did this
have a head and shoulders? Selenium kills it.
I kind of got vibes of that film in this, because you have the meteorite crashing crashing down. Then you get in this unknown sort of alien entity, sort of, coming out from the
Breeding.
meteorite, and then it's quickly evolving throughout to the point where it starts taking over, possessing and things like that. I'm not saying that it is this film, but it was just as I was watching this initially,
No, it can
I was
give
getting
you,
I was making the comparisons throughout. But yeah, I kind of, but I don't know how much, because I know that Evolution was just meant to be some crappy comedy film, sci-fi comedy. But I just wonder whether there was any sort of inspiration from Lovecraft that was then brought into that film, and we're really seeing it in this one as well, and we're sort of really seeing it come to life in this film.
Well, Murgoot will probably back me up on this, but I think you're not going to sound stupid by saying Lovecraft has an absolutely massive influence on horror. So a comparison would be Stephen King, deep in his, particularly troubled days, let's say the 80s. He writes a story called The Tommyknockers, which is about a fairly indescribable, weird object arriving from space, landing in a town where a Mr. Gardener lives.
Yep.
And then this weird technology spreads out and influences all sorts of people. And, it's got the same surname. It's got the same basic plot. It changes a little bit. It makes it a lot more material.
Yeah, the weird science to it.
Yeah, definitely.
It
I do want to say
was
quickly.
the color, but I found Tommyknockers absolutely dreadful.
Well,
I read it when it first came out, and I was like, no.
How can I say it's not his best, and he was writing it in a time where he wasn't the healthiest. I've just been reminded of something I needed to
fueled nightmare.
What's Stephen King's cat called?
I don't know.
Oh, hello. Who's popped up in the chat?
I just want to point out, before we talk about, I'm pleased to see one of my favorite chatters in. It's so good to see you, man. I love it. Before we do that, I would be remiss in if I didn't mention that there was, a Lovecraft film with a really interesting cat in it. Now,
Don't say the name.
this lovely black cat here. Yeah.
Is it named after a country in Africa?
No, it's called, if you remember it was called G-Spot.
No, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I just thought, could be worse for a Lovecraft story. I know
wince.
People are going to want me to mention the cat every time.
Yeah, I did wince when they were like, "Oh, what's the cat's name?" And I was like, oh, "Don't, G-Spot." Oh, okay, that works.
Do you know what that is, auf Deutsch?
Go on.
Nine. Don't.
Grafenberg?
Gay Punkte.
Gay Punkte. I don't get to use. I'm probably never going to get to say that on a stream again. So I figured I'd take the opportunity, and I'll also take the opportunity to thank one of my favorite novelty chatters here. Hey, St. Thomas Aquinas, thank you so much. Prayers and candles, they are very welcome. I think James De Silva there, one of our resident chicken appreciators, particularly called out for you. And it's good to see you. I hope you're enjoying the stream. Thank you very much for the super chat. It's much appreciated. While you're here, St. Thomas, I think you are really going to like the next video I put out. I'll just say that I don't know when it's ready because I need to get a few people to check the audio because I've had some audio issues. But as a little teaser, I think you are really going to like the Black Mirror video that's coming out fairly soon. I'll leave it there. Thanks again, friend. Much appreciated. That is a really nice cat. One of the alpacas was called Thor.
Oh, nice. My girlfriend's mum's horse is called Thor. There you go.
Cheers.
I thought I mentioned. I was going to say I prefer the way the cat looks when it's about to be run over. Personally,
This was one of the bits that I found really, really hard to watch. Actually, the mutated cat was very upsetting to me.
I take it back what I said before. I think the mutated cat is pretty good CGI as well.
Oh,
the CGI is bad.
It was good. I just found it upsetting. I was like, that scared the. Oh, it's quite nice to say, and I should probably be saying it more on a horror movie analysis stream. This really scared me at places. I was freaked out by a lot of it.
Oh yeah.
I'm just learning. I might have a point to that evolution comparison because apparently the original script was meant to be, or the original idea that it was meant to be a horror film, and it was Ivan Reitman that turned it into a comedy, and it does have Lovecraftian themes.
There we go.
Oh yeah,
they probably did base it off this then. So there you go.
There you go.
And we could also say one of the series that we might not think would be very Lovecraftian is, I mean, people are going to say, well, duh, as soon as I say it, is Evil Dead. I was talking with Wes. I know. I was talking with Wes on the about this and just say, yes, there's the obvious thing that they literally have a Necronomicon in the Evil Dead, but you know, you can.
Oh yeah.
In fairness, they also have Freddy Krueger's glove in the Evil Dead, so you know, it's not just the presence of a plot. Of a prop, but it's the fact that you have someone who goes out of the way, out of the modern world, and encounters something ancient and disturbing, and then forces that are so more powerful than they can understand or fight or comprehend do horrible things to them and twist their bodies in ways they never expected. I mean, that's a really Lovecraftian plot, especially number 2, I would say, given how that ends, which I'll keep quiet because I think Haryan probably hasn't seen it. Evil Dead 2, Haryan?
The only thing I've seen is Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Okay. No. Oh, would you recommend it? I have not seen it.
Wait, no, I didn't mean that. I meant the one we watched. Was it the one we watched with Radlib?
Oh, the Medieval Dead, Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness is what I meant. Yeah, sorry, that's the only one I've seen with Bruce Campbell.
No worries. Ash vs. Evil Dead is the TV series. I've not seen it, but I meant to. I really meant to.
As far as I know, the tree is based on one of Lovecraft's creations, the Dark Young of Shub-Niggurath. And it basically did in the movie what it does in the literature.
Yep, it does. It does. But we wouldn't think of it necessarily as Lovecraftian, and we should. We should. I mean, the obvious... Anyway, I won't go down an Evil Dead train here.
Yeah, because I was going to mention that you can see on the right the cute little chicken thing with eggs in. I literally have that in my house as well. I'm sorry, that was another distraction. It's That's really cute. Cool.
It's a beautifully designed film. What can I say? You notice they got a little meat grinder on the side there.
I've just noticed a meat grinder that goes straight into the drying rack. Plate crap.
Oh, that is such an EFAP comment.
Well, I just noticed it. I thought it was funny.
You're sitting there having a good time, and you're like, no, they're going to be making their Trungo, and it's going to be all in their drying rack.
Oh, I really want to go to Trungos. It's the only reason I want to go to Louisiana.
Homemade alpaca burgers.
Oh, nice. I think that could be nice.
Okay. I mean, should we talk a little bit about the ending and round up, because we still talked about how it sort of escalates. I'm wary of Super Nanny and her limits. So.
I mean, I guess you can go from the bit where you kind of go from when Wade comes back and everything's just going
to stop her from going into the well and.
Oh, yeah, that was really funny. I thought, you know, when Benny, no, not Benny. Benny's the dog. Benny's the kid, but he's talking about the dog, isn't he? So he goes in the well to try and fetch the dog, and I'm like, oh, you're desperate for that dog, fair enough. But it kind of goes half in, and then obviously the portal opens, and it's the color of space. I found it really funny when that's happening. He goes in his pocket to get out the welding goggles that he found before.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's why they set that up. I genuinely, when I saw the blinding light, I thought, oh, he's gonna bring out the goggles later to try and save someone through blinding light. I thought that would be a lot better, but it's like, oh no, he just dies with them. I'm like, oh. I mean, at least he used them. But I was just kind of like, this bit, he's dying, and I noticed that, and I laughed. That's an EFAB comment. So, but obviously, yeah, she loses her brother there as well, and that's the bit where Nathan comes in and says like, oh, what happened to teamwork? I think this is where Nic Cage gets a bit more memey with his performance. But,
there were a few bits where I felt he pushed it a bit.
Well, I can take it because he's weird from the start, Nathan, and when he's mind control, of course, it's going to be weirder. So,
I mean, he's very different, isn't he? When he goes from the normal sort of awkward, you know. I mean, I got vibes from him from the outset that he was a man who, on the outside, was giving off this, I've got everything I want in life. Sort of persona, but underneath there was something dark and deep-seated that was frustrated.
He was talking to Teresa on the porch about, I'm not going to live my life like my father did. I'm not my father. And then he proceeds to channel his father through the rest of the movie.
Yeah. But I actually, my opinion of the ending of the film changed after listening to the audiobook, I'll admit, because I was a bit disappointed because initially because obviously I watched the film first, and when I watched the film, and obviously the whole the Gardner family don't quite come out of it too well. They all died. The only person who survived was Ward. Now, when I first saw that, I was a bit like, oh man, a bit disappointed because I would have liked to have seen like at least one of the Gardner family survive, just because that's how I am. But after listening to the audio book, I felt actually it was really important that he survived, because the whole point of the book is that it's Ward telling the story, and obviously if he died in the film, then that would defeat the purpose of the book. I felt like
he was 20 years.
I mean, yeah, it was. That's the thing.
Years later.
Yeah. I mean, it's many years after the fact, and also he wasn't directly involved firsthand in the book, because again, he's getting all this information from Amy. But again, I think it was important because there was no, quote unquote, there was no Amy in this film. It was important that someone was able to share that story, and that person was Ward. So yeah, I felt like I was quite satisfied after seeing hearing the audiobook. I was quite satisfied with the ending of the film.
Yeah, seeing him on the dam staring at the water, he turns around and he's chain smoking and flicks the cigarette over the side, and he has the bag under his eyes and the black circles.
It looks so
cool.
It's
still on his beard as well. Yeah.
He's haunted by it.
Yeah, really good.
They did a really good, they did good work of showing him traumatized. Really subtle. It wasn't like
visually so convincing. And of course, he's not actually, because obviously he's narrating at the end. You hear his voiceover narration, but obviously from what you're seeing is you're just seeing a guy just standing there like blank, just watching the water.
I've seen some dude.
He flicks a cigarette into the water, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
which is like good.
I was
hoping I'd remember that. Well, it was more like, can you get a better way of just visually telling us that this guy who was a hydrologist, super concerned about water quality, is now a little bit beyond that, and it seems like a trivial matter to him.
Well, it's also that he hates the dam and hates the reservoir, and he's haunted by it.
Man, it's such a good ending.
Just like in the story when he says, I still live in Arkham, but I refuse to drink any water out of the reservoir.
Yeah. Yeah. For those who haven't read the audiobook, part of the ending narration in the film and also the opening as well, are the narrator Ward is directly quoted from the books, which I thought was quite a nice touch. Not 100% word accurate, but parts like well, I'm glad the dam's there. I'll never drink from the water, or something along those lines. That was there were direct quotes in there, but yeah, no, I went from being like, okay, he looks cool, he looks like he's seen some shit, but I would have liked to have seen at least one of the gardeners survive. To it had to be
It's
that way.
Lovecraft.
Yeah, it had to be. Yeah, I'm learning. I'm learning. Yeah. I mean, I'm learning, but I mean, I was satisfied after listening to the book. I was okay. This has to work right away.
Well, as well, one of my why I have such praise for the director when the house gets blown up and turned to ash, and he comes out in this ashen field and it's just pure white mist. I'm like, oh, this is whoa. Man, I don't need anything more obvious to tell me that this issue's over. But man, I am not going to be surprised if he's traumatized. And then it's like, oh, by the way, I'm traumatized. And I'm like, oh my god, great.
The color hatches its egg and blasts itself off into space again. Yeah,
I mean, this is the thing. You see the world it comes from, where it's got all those tentacles and that weird tower, and it's all purple, and it's like, wow, this is beyond my comprehension. Clearly, I just took it as, I guess it needed energy from the people, or what. I don't know how to put it into words because it's supposed to be beyond that. But this is why I prefer it. This is what Event Horizon needed. It needed. I can infer that it needs these people to get to its end goal, which in this case is to leave the planet, essentially. Whereas in Event Horizon, I'm like, what do you actually want? And I'm not trying to poo on Event Horizon here. I'm just using it as an example to kind of say I can understand what the color Outer Space wanted in this film, and obviously in the book as well, given how well adapted it appears to be compared to other things. So I can follow this film. What more is there to say? And it's great.
if Haryan can follow a film, then it's a good one, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. There's a through line. Yay. Yes, Event Horizon was a classic, Don, but the plot's lackluster. I'm not getting into it.
Yeah, Dom, if you watch our Event Horizon stream, Haryan does often fight a corner that no one else goes for, but that is why he's on the stream.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, it would just be me doing gay readings of everything.
I am also here to stop that. Not everything is gay.
Yes. We all have our specialities that we bring to the play. I should probably mention here, like you talked about how it's Ward is just sort of reporting things, and afterwards, and like technically, because we're seeing things on a film, we could literally just kill him off, but we keep him around afterwards, even though we don't need him to tell us a story. And they do something lovely with it, because you see its effect on him, a haunted man. I want to say, just like that habit of having someone report a story, or as Lovecraft really likes to do, report a reporting of a story, is a bit of a hangover from really classic novel writing. And we're talking dawn of the novel, where you'd have this epistolary format that is a story told through letters. So a really good example of this is Frankenstein, which has got a really unusual structure if you've never read it. It's a palindromic structure. So you start off with letters from a sea captain. Don't correct me if I'm wrong. I've not read it for a long time, but you get a sea captain's letters, and then I believe you get Frankenstein's letters, and then you get the perspective changing again, and then you go back to Frankenstein. It's very it's this palindromic structure, but you're always getting a reported story. I'm just waiting to see if Waifu is going to tell me I'm an idiot and wrong, and that's not how novels worked. But effectively, what I'm trying to say here is this is Lovecraft really reaching back to an old style. I mean, he's very influenced by writers who were
romances.
exactly Poe. Obviously, is a little bit, Poe is past that, but Lovecraft still likes that old epistolary style, alongside all his other like deliberate choices to use very antiquated phrasing, that was antiquated when he wrote it, which just gives such an amazing flavor to his work.
And he preferred, as an American, he still preferred the British spellings. Color with the U, and he was very big Anglophile. Would have preferred to have been born in Britain at the height of the empire rather than America.
Gotta say, I find it very upsetting writing color out of space without a U. It's just doesn't feel right, man. Doesn't feel right.
That was the reason why I couldn't find it through my totally legitimate movie site, was because I was putting color with the U, and I just after we went live, because obviously you put the title up and and so it was COLOR, so I popped that in. I was like, oh Christ, it's there. So I paid more than I needed to watch this film. Worth it. But
I had to. I did likewise. I mean, I don't mind supporting this, but I wish I could have given the money to the production team directly. Oh, really liked it. Really, really liked it. We should probably get to rounding up, I think.
Just before we do that, you know the bit where I want to call him Gazagan, that's not his name. Ward goes into you know when he goes into the house at the end, and it's just Nathan sitting on the couch, and he says in Lav's voice, "Are you looking at my legs?" Can anyone work out what Ward is saying in that scene when he just shouts? I have no idea what he says, and I really want to know. Because it was really hard to tell, but because if you get subtitles up, it might just be garbage.
Oh no, the subtitles were crap, because again, I rented it off Amazon in the end, and the subtitles were awful, spelling mistakes, it weren't great. I think I know what. Yeah, I'll say I think I know what scene you're talking about. I don't.
It's because Nathan says like, in Lav's voice, "Are you looking at my legs?" And then he just shouts like, and it just goes, "Oh, it doesn't matter." Nathan says, and I'm like, I really want to know what he says, and I repeated it about 6 times. Found about 6 different servers that were hosting a totally legitimate way to watch this film, all with different subtitles, and they all say different things, and none of them sound right. So
is this near the start of the film?
No, it's right near the end. It's when it's after he shoots, or after he gets shot in the back, after trying to shoot a Ward in the back, and then he's moved into the house, and Lav's been taken over. The big funnel goes out from the well, and then he goes in the house trying to escape, and Nathan's there, and it's that bit where he goes in the house.
Right. Okay.
If you can't find it now, that's like fine. I just really want to know what he says. It's the only bit of the film where I'm like, I hate it because I don't know what's going on. Well, I can get what's going on. It's obviously, S is going down, but I want to know what the dialogue is. Anyway, we can get to summing up here. This is me nitpicking here. Assuming Prop Horror Show's there, I don't know.
I am. I was just muted like a div. We've only done 65 of these streams, So.
Oh yeah, you forget all the time. Man. I still start streams where I'm muted, so don't worry about it.
Oh, the old Sargon classic.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we didn't even touch much on it, just because the end does get so crazy. I want to rewatch this because I was sort of visually overwhelmed, and overwhelmed with the story. I want to rewatch it again and just to try and unpick some of the end bits apart, because there was so much crazy stuff going down in the end that I kind of lost it. It did have this really nice bit that was like almost melancholic after Nicolas Cage has been shot.
Yeah.
And then he's wandering back through the house again, like he's still kind of going, but he's not really him. And I want to watch that and try and make more sense of it, because there was a lot going on in this film. There was just a heck of a lot going on. It needs a rewatch badly.
Yeah, I think it's one of those films where you rewatch it again and you actually have more neat picks than nitpicks.
Yes.
I think rewatching it will make you appreciate it more, a bit like, I don't know, Hot Fuzz or something like that. So, where you notice details where they've been like, oh, this is what they were thinking about. So that's great. It's, yeah.
Oh, yes.
I don't want to take over. So. Who's Sargon? Oh, Benjamin, you know that, Rory. Come on.
Nice try. Nice try baiting, Rory. Nice try. Number one Applebee's employee. So, no, he's good. He's fine. Although he did not respond to my darn email offering to talk about the BBFC. Can you believe it? Ugh.
He is notoriously terrible for replying to anything, so I wouldn't take it
Where
first.
are their priorities?
Yeah.
Shocking. Anyway, so shall we go for closing thoughts and scores, please?
Why not?
Fantastic. And I'll offer it up to our guest Murgoot, if you would like to lead on this, giving your closing thoughts and score in our traditional undefeated, unchanged score out of 12 burgers format.
I love Nicolas Cage in this. He brought the right kind of crazy to it. Tommy Chong was perfectly cast as the loopy guy. Like I said, he stole every scene he was in, which was great. I loved the little touches that pointed to other Lovecraft works and pointing to the next film in the trilogy. The imagery was absolutely beautiful. They held fairly true to the story. The practical effects on the alpacas was great. I found it hilarious at the same time as utterly horrific. It was brilliant. I give it 10 tainted alpaca burgers with the obligatory 4 cheese for Nicolas Cage and Tommy Chong.
Yeah, they are both worth a double cheese, definitely. So, just checking. 10
burgers.
10 alpaca burgers, 4 cheese. Yeah. Very fair, very fair. Okay.
And it tastes like purple.
It's got the special purple sauce in it. It's an indescribable flavor.
Yes.
Yeah. Mayo. All right. Oh, and chat, get your scores in as well. Want to see what you got. If you haven't seen it, you don't have to give a score, but watch this film. It was really good. It was way better than I ever expected. TCG, would you like to go next, please?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with Murgoot in terms of the score. I'd give it a solid 10 out of 12 burgers. I think aesthetically and visually, this is a beautiful film. It's well directed, and the obvious obstacle that you pointed out with regards to the indescribable color, I think they handled it quite well. But yeah, it's got a solid story. It having read the book or listened to the audiobook, it doesn't stray too far from it, which I respect, whilst also giving it a bit of a modern tone to it. But yeah, this was, if you guys haven't seen it in the chat, I would highly recommend it. I was very surprised when Horror Show said that she was going to be reviewing this film and, mentioned that Nicolas Cage was in it. I thought that this was just going to be one of those films where he's kind of just sort of signed on just for the sake of it. But yeah, it definitely surprised me. It's a good cast, well acted. Even like the young Jack, the boy Jack. Normally children actors are awful, but I thought he was pretty good as well. CGI was a bit naff, so it does drop a couple of marks there for me. But yeah, 10 out of 12 burgers. I'm gonna lay off the cheese, but I'm gonna put some beetroot in for the aesthetic, for the color, and also I'll need a couple of drinks. So I'm gonna have, to my left will be some alpaca milk, and on the right, a nice glass of water from a well.
Is it contaminated?
We'll just have to wait and see. I haven't got unfortunately, I haven't got a hydrologist around that will that can test it.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was a line I kind of liked as well. Actually, when Nathan's been interviewed on the TV, it's like, yeah, we had a hydrologist around. I mean, he's not a geologist, but
yeah,
he said that line. A hydrologist is a subsection of geology.
Yeah.
So
but I love it because later on in the film, when he sees Ward again, he's like, "Oh, it's the toxicologist."
yeah.
That gave me a bit of whiplash too.
Yeah. No. Oh, well, to be fair to Nathan, I can understand why you wouldn't know the difference. Well, you'd understand the interaction between hydrology and geology, but yeah, hydrology is a subsection of geology. But your average guy isn't going to know that. So
I just saw it as the father of the of his daughter's love interest, just completely like, I am not interested in you. I do not like you. I have no interest in what your profession is. I will purposely get your job title wrong because I don't like it. Oh, it's the toxicologist. He's not a geologist. He's
a hydrologist. Yeah,
I heard he's a male escort.
Okay, so I think that's good scores. Good scores. I feel like I should go higher than 10, but 10 does feel about right. I think it's incredibly well done. It's very ambitious. I can't really put my finger on why I'm not giving it more, or other than I think I'd have to be in a certain mood to watch it. And I suppose the soundtrack didn't stand out for me as much. I'd probably be going for a 10.5 burgers. This was just great. And we should probably talk about just mistakes it avoided. It didn't have crappy child actors. It didn't ham it up.
No.
It didn't in 2019, 3 years into the great cancelling of Lovecraft, go out of its way to crap on the source material. It did a modern adaptation, casting everyone very well, causing no issues, and just delivering the story. So perfect for that. And I had the same fear that this would be a Nicolas Cage cash-in. He had a situation, if I understand it right, I might be wrong. He was presented with a very large tax bill and effectively just started signing on for any movies asking for him. And I worried it would be like this. I mean, this isn't a high-budget movie, but nevertheless, really raised my opinion. Cage didn't meme it up. He treated it seriously. He threw in a few scenes that were a bit meme fodder, which might be a clever marketing move. But then you have scenes like when he's being interviewed on TV and he was just really relatable and kind of adorable. It turned around. And all that with multiple scenes of horror that were so effective with good symbolism that I found them incredibly scary, upsetting, disturbing, fantastic. So a very strong 10.5 burgers for me. Can't identify the source, but it's probably fine. It's splattered everywhere. It's all good. And our friend St. Thomas Aquinas said 9 burgers with our Lord Vladimir Alpaca. Fantastic. Yep, a very fair score. We're landing well on here. So closing one, Haryan.
God damn it, I was Googling the gun because I was trying to be clever and say, "Oh, that gun's called that," but I don't care at this point. Yeah, man, what a film! I mean, even in terms of the objectivisms, all the superficial stuff we've basically talked about. But even when it came to Ezra, and when he's in his hut and he's off the grid, that it's asked, where does he get that electricity from? Oh, it's all solar and batteries. Oh, sweet, they even explained that. And then he opens the door. He's like, oh, it's the hydrologist. How do you know that? He says cameras everywhere. It's like, oh my god, even that. You could even infer, and that stuff's explained. It's so minutely detailed in that, meticulously detailed in that sense. But again, I think I'm going to have to give it a 10, and because we're in the area of, when you're about a 9 and above, it's okay. This film's not flawless, obviously, but the flaws are very limited. But when we get to that point, we need to say, okay, you now need to do really good things to get above a 10 to an 11, say. And this is the thing. I think it's kind of partly tone, because with obviously Nicolas Cage playing as Nathan, and I know he's clearly doing it to differentiate between Nathan being lucid and mind controlled. He might ham it up a bit too much. It might not be subtle enough. Maybe is why I'm saying that. If this is why I need a rewatch of it, because there's a bit where he's just eating an apple and like spitting it out. And it's clearly his mind control, and then he just stops, but the wife's gone out, and it's like a bit contrived, but you get the point. And it's all good. And I also like how it's how they deal with the cop in the ambulance problem. It's like, why can't you get an ambulance? Why can't you get cops? Oh, they're out in the middle of nowhere. That's why. That's explained. And then obviously they're needed there when they needed to be there at the end of the film. But it's like, oh well, that's because there's an emergency. There's been a murder or whatever. It is really good, but again, it's very kind of, an 11 out of 12 film in terms of how I go about it is, Possessor's an 11. Why? Because the flaws as I say, there are obviously flaws. They're very limited. They're very nitpicky, but it does incredible things with its story arc and, themes as well. I'm not anti-theme. And I don't know, this one's just, it's missing that slight thing that none of us can quite put our finger on. Which
it's indescribable.
Literally. I mean, yeah, it's things like that. It's like, oh, that colour was indescribable. And it's like, no, it wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can pitch in, I think the way I tend to score is like, I have 10 burgers available to be assigned based on quality.
Yeah.
And I have 2 rogue burgers based on, does this fulfill all my biases? Which is why Candyman is a 12. Like, I will happily give 2 burgers just because it echoes my values in a story. And that's what I want. I want to see things that promote things I enjoy. So if you do that, I will upvote you from a very biased perspective.
Yeah, so I guess I'm giving it a 10 because my brain has clearly noticed things, but it's not, come through to the conscious side yet. I guess one of the things I can think of is when they go, they find the Lovecraftian conglomerate of beasts in the back of a pickup truck. And Ward's like, oh, I'll just go with the sheriff to this house. Clearly there's no more people we need. It only looks like a mad scientist experiment. It's like, I say they solve the police problem. It's like, just the sheriff and the hydrologist going? Maybe not. But even then, they use the one police car as a really good way for some of the cinematography, because you've got the, flashing blue light going through the window and whatnot. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. So, it's not harsh enough to go down to a 9, but it's not good enough to go to an 11. So, yeah, 10 out of 12 burgers. Cheese because of Nicolas Cage's stellar performance as usual. Even though it's a Lovecraft film that took it a lot more seriously than Reanimator last week, it was great. Highly recommend. There you go.
Oh, this is good. This is good. This is very high scoring. Okay, thank you so much. We might not stay within Super Nanny's graces. We're not going to get a gold star from her, but I don't know. Maybe we'll still be allowed to have a supper before bedtime. I'll round things off quite quickly. I knew there'd be a lot to cover, which possibly wasn't helped by me going on massive detours about the BBFC again. I know. Maybe this is a subtle plot by TCG to get me into trouble.
What have I done?
Could be.
You encourage.
Okay. Encourage me to talk about the BBFC. You knew I can't stop.
Oh no,
Definitely.
definitely don't do it. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
All right, no. Well, I will take just a moment because there is a very special announcement. I put out a very advanced warning for next week's show, and I always do it, but I gave you a week's extra advance notice on my Twitter, and I believe I also put it out on YouTube, unless I failed, because there is a lot of homework for next week. Now, the shortest homework is watching The Haunted Palace, which is a 1963 adaptation of H P Lovecraft's The Case of Charles Dexter Ward, which is one of, I believe, his first novella. It's certainly, I think it's the longest in his book, but maybe I'm wrong there. Anyway, it's more of a novella than a short story. But you can watch the Roger Corman directed 1963 version called The Haunted Palace. But the one I really, really want you to listen to is a BBC audio adaptation that pretends to be a podcast called The Lovecraft Mysteries, or Lovecraft Investigations. Anyway, if you go on BBC Sounds and search for The Case of Charles Dexter Ward, you'll find it. If you go on my Twitter @ProperHorrors, you will find my links and you can look it up there. But that is, I believe, a 10-part audio adaptation of The Case of Charles Dexter Ward. It's modernized.
It is available on YouTube.
Excellent. It's absolutely fantastic, guys. It is so good. A lot of the reason we're doing this arc is because of this audio adaptation. So I really want you to listen to that and prioritize that. It's 10 parts, but I think you'll really love it. So go for that. And then if you can also manage The Haunted Palace with Vincent Price, absolute bonus. Okay? So there's a lot to cover. I tried to give as much advance notice as possible. Gosh, don't know which horror film. I don't know. We are having to have a second Lovecraft arc. How will we cope? Because frankly, there's a lot of Lovecraft, and I really hated paring this down to the basics. James De Silva, fantastic idea. Yes.
I mean,
do give it a go. Try, get yourself a nice beverage, sit down, dark room, listen to it. It gets pretty damn spooky. Treat it like a horror film. Although I do find the trouble is if I listen to audio in the dark, I might just drop off. So do what you need to do to avoid that.
Sorry, I'm just going to dip out for like 2 seconds because my son is frantically messaging me. There's a spider in his room.
No worries. Okay, so, I think we found the Dunwich horror route. Okay. All right. Okay. So that is the horror homework. I'll talk for a few more minutes just to try and give TCG time to get back because I want to thank him for his service. So I've mentioned the horror homework. The other thing I'll mention is that I've been working very hard on a video that is a lot longer than I intended it to be. But I had an idea about Black Mirror and a particular episode of it that I have produced a 30-minute video on. I'm pretty happy with it. It needs a final few revisions, and I'm going to reach out to just make sure that people can check the audio on it because I have had some issues. So it's going to come out probably on Tuesday because I'd like, obviously we usually stream on Tuesday, but we're not at the moment. So I figure I'll drop you that on Tuesday to enjoy. And I think you'll really enjoy that. That's there's some good stuff in it, if I do say so myself. So that should be interesting. You've got your homework. I'm probably going to close up the stream. I don't know if TCG is going to miss it.
I just want to know how you've managed to do a whole Lovecraft arc without anything to do with Cthulhu and anything to do with Swim Left.
Oh man, that could go in the second arc. Also,
H
because
P
I need.
Lovecraft Historical Society Call of Cthulhu in Mythoscope is out there, and I did put it in the chat. It is on BitChute. It's not on YouTube.
I mean, would you recommend it?
Yeah, it's all silent film. It's very interestingly done. It's very low production budget, a lot of mats, a lot of puppets, a lot of shadow play, but it's very, very good.
Okay. I need to do a fair bit more watching around for that, but yeah, it is weird given that Cthulhu is what he's most known for. A lot more stuff has been done outside, possibly because the Call of Cthulhu is just really not that easy to film, to be honest. But hopefully we'll find a good version that we can cover.
You're getting us to listen to a radio drama, you know.
I will look around. If it goes well, I'll look around. And maybe I can find a good reading of it. Maybe we'll just end up doing some audiobooks of it. I don't know. We'll manage.
Maybe we anyway, could do a story. I'll one of us reads it in advance. Or, do an audiobook, as you say. Who knows?
All right. Well, we might be missing TCG, but if he's around at the end, then I will thank him personally. I'm probably going to close off now, so I will say many thanks to you two, and TCG as well. Thank you, Murgoot, for hopping on for the first time. Sorry, I'm stuttering.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Absolute pleasure having you on, man. I might join you again on Friday on the Florida Man stream. And chat, really enjoyed the interactions. I've seen some new faces in chat recently. That is fantastic. Really appreciate that. Dom, first time seeing you in here. Really enjoy seeing you. Hope you liked it. Thanks for subscribing. Much appreciated. I'll just say for Dom, if you're quite new to the channel, I'm doing these streams weekly. There's a lot of videos in the back catalogue. There is a best of proper horror show playlist where I've sort of curated the stuff I'm most happy with and most proud of. Because if you go back in the catalogue, there's a heck of a lot of me working out how the heck to make a video. So
I'm back.
I wouldn't go back too far, to be honest with you. But I hope you try the best of playlist, and I hope you like stuff on that.
Well, I'm pretty sure Dom has come over from Tailed Feature, so.
Oh, guys, shall we end this stream by getting Haryan's reaction to that music video?
Which music video?
Shall we do it?
Yeah.
All right, guys, stick around for 3.5 minutes. Haryan, I'm going to send you a link.
It's in the Discord already.
It's in the Discord already. I'm going to put it in the private chat, Haryan. I want you to watch this, and we're going to stay silent. And I just want your thoughts. This is a music video that we talked about in our topic.
Well, it looks anime, so already I'm disgusted.
Right, just make sure you got Make sure you got an earphone in to listen to it, because
it's good tunes. It's good beats.
Right, I am starting it now.
All right, enjoy.
A lot of grass, a couple of what I assume are young. Oh, where they're sneaking into? Oh, that's a pool. I assume. I hope it's a pool. It is a pool. There you go. Oh, guy gets kicked in the face. Sweet. Oh, nice view. Oh God, why did she pull that face? Oh my God, they're taking their clothes off. Oh no, that's a bare ass. Oh my God, the detail on that camel toe. Jeez. Well, don't look nervous. Everyone's nervous at that age. What's she saying? What is this? What have you got me to watch?
Just
wholesome French content.
Is it? Why is he handing her a beer? Oh no, the girls are wet. Not unusual when I'm in the room, to be fair. Oh, nice dive. Oh, I don't know what I'm supposed to be commenting. Oh, clothes everywhere. Jeez. Oh, is he naked? Oh no, he's not. Thank God. She's still
Getting
got
a
her
bit
clothes on.
saucy.
What's wrong with her? See, they're getting off. Oh, gee. Oh, wow, that is way too much detail. No. Don't put your hand there. Not in the pool, man. The chlorine, it can't be good for it. Oh, and then, oh my God, why were you watching this? What? And now she's drowning herself. Like, what is going on? Already, this is a 3 out of 12 burger music video. What the hell is going on there? She's panicking underwater because she's got a penis. Like,
Oh my God, we're not even there yet. Keep going.
oh wait, she actually does have a penis. I assumed it. There's something in her pants. Is this? What is going on? What the? Is this teeth? Oh my God! It's what did the hand turn into? What? Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! She's turned into a Cthulhu monster. What the fuck? Well, clearly, this is teaching girls to be modest. Otherwise, you're gonna turn into the Cthulhu monster. Oh no! Standing there menacingly. Oh my God! His face turned into a penis. Oh my God! What the fuck is that? Oh my God! Just drown yourself. Wait, this goes to an underwater world? What is going on? Wow. They just turn it. When did she lose her pants?
No.
Wow, I hope my 3 minutes were. You have to. I'm sorry. The chat must be like, "What the hell am I watching?" Yeah, I don't blame you because I don't know what I watched either. You need to put it in the description what you watched. Because
I have put it in the description. I said I said I would use your and TCG's commentary, just live reaction to it, and I'll make a little audio commentary on a censored version.
I would because that is insane.
Welcome to Sub-Niggurath, the fertility goddess of the Cthulhu mythos.
Yep.
But it turns people into Cthulhu monsters, fuse them together, and a man has a. I wouldn't even call it a penis arm. I don't know why I'd call that. It's a lot closer to
The fertility goddess will take anything and make it fertile and feasant.
Nice. Well, that was some thoroughly unholy content to end with, but the only way to experience that is to know nothing about it and just enjoy some French trip hop.
Absolutely. I love the top comment. Bro, you don't know how long I've been trying to find this song for years, and all I had to search up was scary ass monster in pool music video, and it popped up.
Fantastic. Well, okay, folks. That is the end of the stream, and possibly the end of Haryan's innocence.
Oh my God, that was insane.
I'm going to sign off here, folks. It doesn't get better than that. All right. Thanks again to the guests. Thanks again to chat. You've been absolutely fantastic. Really good seeing new faces around, as well as all the people that we know and love coming here every week, making this extra fun to do. All right, folks. I'm signing off now. Thanks, y'all. Cheers.
Hashtag show gang.
I don't even
Hashtag
want to say
weird
anything.
tentacle penis gang.
I don't want to say anything. You don't deserve it.